Measure of revenge as well, as they will have over 40,000 at Commonwealth to give them a helping hand. And you can bet that the crowd will be all over Jeff Garcia tonight. Last week, he ripped the Eskies apart. With more on his unbelievable play, here's Gord Miller and Glenn Suter.
Darren, that passing game that Jeff Garcia had against Edmonton on Monday, the best single game performance in the CFL by a quarterback this year. Glenn, 2 starts now for Jeff Garcia. He makes his 3rd tonight. What's the book on this young quarterback?
Well, 3 aspects of Jeff Garcia's game are outstanding. Number 1 is intelligence. He has picked up this Calgary offense in a hurry. Number 2, his vision. He sees the whole field, makes his read quickly. And number 3, he's got a real strong arm.
Now, let's be fair to the Edmonton Eskimos. Garcia's great game came against a patchwork defense, to say the least. The Eskimos have 16 defensive players dressed for the games. 4 of them got hurt on Monday.
That's right. Now they have the replacement, Gary Wilkerson, in at the corner, and he's a veteran. 6 years in the league with Hamilton, and at 1991, his rookie season, had 7 interceptions, so he can get the job done.
Now, as tough as Calgary has been at home in recent years, Edmonton is even tougher here. The Eskimos have won 14 of the last 15 meetings between these 2 clubs played in this stadium. Darren?
Thanks very much, guys. The emphasis is definitely on the Eskimos tonight. You know what? They're going to have to get to Jeff Garcia through their defensive front and their blitzes. The Stamps have the 2 best receivers in the league in Sapunjas and Pitts. The Eskies' patched-up defensive secondary has to have a big game against them. Lucius Floyd is out. Eric Blunt is in. The Eskimos need their ground game to control the flow and the clock. And Kerwin Bell, if he plays well and beats the Stamps, he will be the #1 quarterback ahead of Chris Vargas, at least for the time being. Time now for some football. Let's get out to Commonwealth Stadium for the big game. Gordon and Glenn are standing by. Gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Darren. It's a beautiful September night in Edmonton. A crowd of 40,000 plus expected. They may get over 50 here at Commonwealth Stadium tonight as they welcome the kids back to school and they welcome the Calgary-Edmonton rivalry back to this stadium. The Eskimos were beaten on Monday in the Labor Day Classic by Wally Buono's Calgary Stampeders. Wally Buono's record against Ron Lancaster, 6-6. Tonight, another tiebreaker, and Ron Lancaster tonight enters this game 58-57 as a head coach in the Canadian Football League. 1 game over 500 overall, but as an Eskimo head coach, well over 500. Brian Walling and Eric Blount are back deep to receive the kickoff from Calgary's Mark McLaughlin. And McLaughlin sends it deep to Eric Blount at the 10. And Blount had an outstanding game last week against Calgary. Gets up to the 27-yard line. The return of 17 yards. 30-year-old Kerwin Bell is back as the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos after seeing Chris Vargas get the last 3 starts for the Eskimos last week, 18 of 29 for 3 touchdowns. The starting lineup's brought to you by Mr. Sub. Fresh thinking is what we are. Chris Morris returns at right tackle for the Edmonton Eskimos after missing 7 games with injuries. And in the offensive backfield, Eric Blount and Michael Souls, the starting running backs, and Jim Sandusky with just 1 touchdown is one of the starting lineouts. 1st and 10. And the give goes to Eric Blount and across the 30, and Blount gets up to the 40-yard line. A gain of 12 yards for the Eskimo running back, and Edmonton certainly looking to establish the running game early on tonight. This Calgary defense is as tough as they come against the run. Only 2 rushing touchdowns allowed this year. Watch for Marvin Polk, number 91, to move around a lot. And look out for Marvin Coleman on the right corner. 2 interceptions last week. He's 2nd in the league with 6 picks. On 1st down, Bell has time. Gets it over the middle of Michael Souls, but he's dropped where he stands. Stopped by Marvin Polk after a gain of maybe 3.
Gord, interestingly enough, right now, Calgary Stampeders have got a little bit of a different alignment. Matt Finley's out with an ankle injury. They brought in Greg Freres, the backup safety, to play the linebacker position. It'll be interesting to see if Edmonton runs the ball.
On 2nd and long, wide open, C.J. Davis, and Davis is down to the 36-yard line. Gerald Vaughn is there for the stop, but it's an Edmonton 1st down deep in Calgary territory after a gain of 32.
Edmonton said before this game in our meeting they wanted to attack the seams and the curl zones, and that's exactly what they do early, going right down the seams and splitting the defenders. Gerald Vaughn on one side and Greg Knox on the other. He goes right down the middle.
On first down, back to the ground they go, and Eric Blount doesn't get much this time. Sreko Zizakovic is in to help make the stop, along with Will Johnson. And it'll be a gain of maybe a couple, but Blount was held pretty much in check along the ground last week. He did have the 98-yard touchdown, though, on the screen pass late in the first half.
Boy, Wally Bono was not happy with that play. He says you don't go 98 yards on the screen play, but Edmonton did, and this guy can get it done. Eric Blount's a great one.
On second down, Bell from the shotgun. Here comes the rush, and there goes the football. Bell fumbles it, and jumping back to get it for Edmonton is Craig Hendrickson, who managed to jump back and grab that. It's a loss of 18 yards, and it takes the Edmonton Eskimos out of field goal range.
Well, Ronnie Lancaster was saying that his defense needed more pressure, but Calgary always coming with the heat. Will Johnson, one of the best in the league at getting at the quarterback, throws Kerwin Bell down like a rag doll, and the ball comes out.
Glenn Harper, the former Calgary Stampeders, stands at his own 41 to punt. Marvin Coleman is back deep to receive, along with Pee Wee Smith. Coleman watches this bounce towards the end zone, and the Calgary Stampeders see it land right on the goal line, and they'll concede the first point of the football game to the Edmonton Eskimos. It's a 54-yard single by Glenn Harper to give Edmonton a 1-0 lead. And we'll get our first look at this Calgary Stampeder offense. 25-year-old Jeff Garcia at the controls, replacing Doug Flutie, who had elbow surgery on Tuesday in Los Angeles. Garcia with 11 touchdown passes this year, just 2 interceptions. Two-time All-Canadian Rocco Romano anchors the offensive line at the right tackle spot. And the CFL's top 2 receivers are in the set. Dave Sapunjas, number 1. Alan Pitts is number 2. And right away, Garcia in the shotgun. Gets it out for Terry Vaughn, and Vaughn has a gain of about 8 yards as he gets out to the 43-yard line. And right away, the Stampeders go after Gary Wilkerson, the new man on the Edmonton corner.
Well, they're going to test him out early, but Gary Wilkerson is just trying to get his feet wet a little bit. He's playing off the receiver there, and he's going to take a little time to just get used to this game again. It's been a while since he's been out there, and he needs to just take a few reps until he settles down a bit. He's probably a little pumped up. There he is right there, and he's a good one. He knows how to play, and he'll be ready to go after a couple plays.
Eastern All-Star in his first year with the Hamilton Ticats. 2nd and 2. Tony Stewart along the ground, puts his head down, gets out across the 45, and all the way up to the 50. Stopped on the play by Errol Martin, number 38. And there's been another change in that Edmonton Eskimo defense. You talked about the wrinkle that Calgary used. Edmonton listed former University of Calgary dinosaur John Kalin as a safety, but instead, behind Pless, Ruck, and Mobley, you see that Errol Martin will line up as the free safety. And here's more bad news for the Edmonton Eskimos. On the second play from scrimmage, a defensive back is hurt for Edmonton. It is Robert Holland, one of the few players able to stay healthy in the loss last week to Calgary.
Ron Lancaster must be just thinking deja vu here when he saw all his goals go down, and he's got another guy lying on the turf, and it's another DB.
As Holland receives attention, we'll take a break. Edmonton leads Calgary 1-0 at Commonwealth Stadium. To put it simply, Monday was a nightmare for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, Labor Day, this is how they started out. Trent Brown was the safety, Darian Hagan and Rogers at the halfback, Reed and Holland at the corners. But changes came early. Rogers was ejected. Kalin moves to safety, and Trent Brown moved to the halfback spot. But it didn't stop there. Brown hurt his knee, so Lucius Floyd had to go into the safety position. Kalin, the safety, backup safety, moves to halfback. Things got worse for Ron Lancaster after that. Now, Brown was on limb. Hagan gets hurt, so Kalin moves in at the halfback, and Brown stays at the other halfback, so you got 2 guys out of position now. And remember, Brown's already on that injury. Mobley comes in for him because he can't stay in the game. Now you got a linebacker playing halfback and 3 guys out of the position. And it got worse after that.
First down, Calgary from the Stampeder 50. Garcia gets it out to the flat, has Alan Pitts, and Pitts has a first down and then some as he gets down to the Edmonton 45-yard line. And he was quick to get away from Melvin Hunter. The gain on the play is 16 yards, and it's another Calgary first down.
Big tackle, guys.
late in the game. This is what they finally tried to do to start to neutralize the slapbacks from the Stamps. Put Holland at halfback, Mobley at the halfback, and move the safety, backup safety, John Kalin, out to the corner. And of course, with the score, we saw what happened when that many guys have to make that many changes.
And now all eyes on the Edmonton bench on Robert Holland to see if he can come back. First and 10, Garcia gets it out to the flat to Sapunja. And Sapunja has another Calgary first down as he puts his head down and gets to the 30-yard line. Gary Wilkerson is up to make the stop, but it's another Calgary first down as the CFL's leading receiver checks in with his first catch of the game and a pickup of 14 yards.
What a season he's having, and you know, now again the Edmonton Eskimos have to make another change. John Kalin has gone in at the halfback position. He was the backup safety with Errol Martin starting. Now he's back in at halfback because Holland is on the sideline with the injury.
Calgary on the march. First down from the 30. The give goes to Tony Stewart. Stewart loses the football. No, loses his helmet rather. Keeps the football. Edmonton saying it got it back, and do the officials agree? All the Eskimo players say they got it back.
The fans are trying to help him out here.
Referee Bud Steen says no. Stewart did lose his helmet, but managed to hang on to the football. That's been a problem for Tony Stewart this year. He's lost 3 fumbles, and he said it quite simply this week. He's got to stop putting the ball on the ground.
Yeah, but you got to give him credit for this one. I mean, the guy got his head knocked off, literally. Watch this. There you saw his helmet pop up in the air, and when you talk about defensive players saying, you know, I want to get in there and take his head off. These Edmonton Eskimo defenders, they mean it literally.
And it looks like Tony Stewart might be cut, as you might expect, with that helmet flying up over his head. And look at that. Receiving totals for Tony Stewart. He has more receiving yards than rushing yards. And again, last week, that was the case for Tony Stewart. Had a great game catching the ball out of the backfield for the Calgary Stampeders. So Pat Clayton and the athletic staff for the Calgary Stampeders have to hustle out there, and Wally Buono can afford a smile on the sidelines. And hey, when you're 9-1, you can smile as much as you like, right?
And there you see John Kalin, the backup free safety. Now he's forced into action because it looks like Holland is going to remain on the bench for the Edmonton Eskimos. It looked like he rolled over on his ankle, and of course Glenn Rogers Jr. is back in the lineup.
Well, he was the center of controversy last week. Of course, kicked out of that game against the Calgary Stampeders, and now you see Robert Holland is starting to jog lightly on that Edmonton sideline, and Holland, the third-year man out of Sacramento State, hoping to get back in the lineup. And we're going to take you back now and show you how Holland was injured a few plays ago. Well,
DBs want to come up and put some pressure on a guy like Pitts, but Pitts can deliver a little bit of a blow too. You see Holland go right there back onto his ankle. And looks like he got a real good twist out of it when his whole weight of his body came back on it. That's a painful one, and it's a matter of now they'll tape it up a little bit, tape it tighter, see if he can get by with the pain.
Gain was 3 for Stewart. It brings up 2nd and 7. 3 receivers to the near side of the field. Garcia pump fake and now airs it out for Vaughn. Oh man, did he ever air it out? About 3 feet over the head of his intended target. And guess who was over there again? Gary Wilkerson on the coverage. And they have gone to his side virtually every play on this first possession.
You saw the veteran in Gary Wilkerson not biting on that pump fake. What Garcia was trying to do was make Wilkerson jump up and get Pitts in behind him. Wilkerson wouldn't buy it. He stayed back until the ball was thrown and played it perfectly. Garcia really had nowhere to go.
Mark McLaughlin with a field goal try of 34 yards. He's 19 of 21 this year inside the 40. His holder replacing Doug Flutie is Kevin Reed. Reed gets it down, and McLaughlin puts it through. So the Calgary Stampeders have taken their first lead, 3-1 over the Edmonton Eskimos, with 8:56 to play in the first quarter on the CFL Live.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by All Sport. The new All Sports drink for athletes. All Sport. The game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services. From the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies.
Well, home teams have prospered in this series, at least when you're talking about the regular season. Edmonton is 7-1 at home against Calgary. The Stamps are 9-2 at home against Edmonton. In all, in 19 games in the 90s, the home team has won 16 of them. But look at the playoffs. Home teams 1-3 in the 4 playoff meetings in the 90s between Edmonton and Calgary. Mark McLaughlin to kick it off again for the Calgary Stampeders. And once again, this will be Eric Blount from the Edmonton 20. And Blount gets by the first wave, still trying to move ahead. He gets out to about the 38-yard line. And he is stopped up there by Kevin Reed on the downfield coverage for the Calgary Stampeders. A 19-yard return of Mark McLaughlin's 56-yard kickoff. So the Edmonton Eskimos get their second possession. One thing they've managed to do is stop Calgary from scoring first. The Stampeders 6-0 when they get the first points in a football game this year.
Kerwin Bell's reestablished himself as the starting quarterback here in Edmonton. Those were his numbers right there from last week, and he came in and, in a losing cause, did a nice job. So he's the starter again for Ron Lancaster.
3 receivers to the near side of the field for Bell. But the toss goes to the other side for Eric Blount, and he goes nowhere. Stopped in the play by Dwayne Patterson, number 92, who draws into the Calgary defensive line as they've had some injuries down there, been forced to move some people around. Marvin Pope has played some defensive line for the Calgary Stampeders, but he takes Matt Finley's spot because Finley is out this week with that chronic ankle.
Eric Blount is having himself quite a year. No, Lucius Floyd is ready to play, but from that kind of yardage, can't take him out.
Kerwin Bell has to step up to avoid the pressure. He's got a long way to go. Bell gets out to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 7 yards, but that'll leave him 3 yards short of an Edmonton first down. Running would not be Kerwin Bell's forte as a quarterback.
No, he's a pocket passer. He'll be the first to tell you, one of those guys that reads. But watch Big Daddy take his drop, read the quarterback, read the play, and then flow right to the ball and just lock in on that quarterback and try and get a shot. Those linebackers' eyes get huge when the quarterback starts running, and there he is.
Big Daddy had a touchdown catch last week. He's only 1 touchdown behind Pee Wee Smith this year.
And he lets them know about it, too.
Here's Marvin Coleman from the 30. Flags are down. It'll be no yards. And Coleman still manages to get out to the 30-yard line. So flags are down with the return by Marvin Coleman. A pickup of just 2 yards on a 37-yard punt. We'll be back with more from Commonwealth Stadium right after this. Don't know if Glenn Rogers Jr. took a shower after the Labor Day game, but he certainly didn't need to. He was ejected in the first quarter of the football game after this incident. Dave Sapungis over the middle. Now watch Rogers hang on to Sapungis' leg. Sapungis gives him a shove, and then Rogers kicked him back. He was kicked out. Do you think it was a good call, Glenn?
Well, I don't like to criticize the officials, but you'll see a look at it here in slow motion. You be the judge. I mean, this happens on every play. Little kick there, little push there. Now, to me, that doesn't warrant a penalty, let alone an ejection. But Glenn Rogers got thrown out of the ball game.
You might never have finished a game if they'd called that.
Well, you know, in fairness to the officials, Glenn Rogers has a reputation, and that reputation got him in trouble.
And Jeff Garcia's performance on Labor Day, the 4th best passing game by a Stampeder quarterback in their history. On first down, Garcia has time and then gets cut from behind. Stopped by Leroy Blue. That's the 6th sack of the year for Leroy Blue, and it looked like Jeff Garcia had all kinds of room.
Well, Ron Lancaster said this was the most important point he wanted to emphasize for this week in the rematch is more pressure on Garcia, and he's brought in David Bailey to get a rotation. Leroy Blue gets the sack, but they're going to rotate that front 4 and keep him fresh.
On second down, Garcia back in the shotgun. Lots of time looking for Pee Wee Smith. Smith makes the catch, but Wilkerson able to wrap him up with the Calgary 52. That'll leave him 2 yards short of a first down after a gain of 8. Pee Wee got his first 2 touchdown catches of the season in the Labor Day game on Monday.
And it's amazing to keep a guy with that kind of speed. You know, he is the #1 member of the Jeff Garcia fan club. Pee Wee Smith right there has had 2 great games. When Garcia came in the Birmingham game, he had 120 yards in that game, his best effort of the year. So he likes Jeff Garcia. He's getting the ball more.
Tony Martino is back to punt. He punted only 3 times on Monday. And he is the CFL's Maytag repairman.
I wonder if he feels guilty picking up this paycheck.
Nope. Nope. Eric Blount is the lone man back to receive the punt, standing at his own 10. Here comes the rush. Martino gets a good kick away. Blount from the 16. Eric Cloud, a busy man today, fights his way out to the 24-yard line. It's a punt of 41 yards and a return of 8 for Eric Cloud, who will stay in with this Edmonton Eskimo offense.
Now you can just feel the tension between these two teams right now. They're both, even though they just played last week, they're so up for this game. Edmonton, of course, see Kerwin Bell wanting to get revenge on the Calgary Stampeders, but right now it seems like they're just feeling each other out. They're really not going after each other, but it's early and they're a little tense.
Edmonton had only 59 yards rushing on Monday against Calgary. A total the Eskimos know they had to improve. 1st and 10 from their own 24. Bell has time, guns it out to the flat, and gets it there for Nick Mazzoli. Mazzoli had his face mask swiped by Alondra Johnson. He gets stopped up at about the 29-yard line. Call it a gain of 5 for Nick Mazzoli, who's having some kind of late summer, 5 touchdown catches in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we saw him against Ottawa have 3 in that game, and a huge game, but he's just going to be the release guy on the out in the zone defense. You'll see him, Kerwin Bell delivers the ball to that release pattern, then he tries to get a few on his own.
They fake the drop play. Look out, Kerwin Bell's in trouble, and he is down. Will Johnson gets in there, and Johnson gets his 8th sack of the year. The 4-time All-Canadian had Kerwin Bell right from the snap of the ball.
Well, if you're an offensive coordinator and this guy led the league in sacks in 1994, I think you want to block him. Will Johnson came in there untouched, and when you get a guy like that rushing you with no one blocking you, it's over.
So the chess match continues. Harper's back out to punt. Smith and Coleman are once again back deep for Calgary. The ball bounces high in the air, still loose, and now it's picked up by Errol Martin, who fights his way out to the 20-yard line, but it will be Calgary ball. The punt is blocked by linebacker Raymond Biggs, who got in on Glenn Harper, and the first big play of the football game is turned in by Calgary's special team.
Well, Biggs leads the team on special teams tackles, and he's in there. Backup linebacker gets both hands out over the ball. No chance for Glenn Harper to get that one away. And see Errol Martin pick it up, but it doesn't matter because they don't get first down yardage. So it's Calgary's football, and the first big turnover of the game.
So a short field for Jeff Garcia and the Calgary offense. 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 20. Garcia with the fake to Sean Daniels. Gets it underneath for fullback Craig Brenner, and Brenner has a Calgary first down as he gets across the 10 and down to the 7-yard line. Just the 2nd catch of the year for Craig Brenner, a gain of 11 yards and a Calgary first down.
Well, he's in because Tony Stewart's still dinged from when he lost his helmet, but it's a man-to-man defense. Willie Pless just gets a little bit of a rub, can't get out there to get on Brenner, and look at the hit that Garcia takes after the fact by Leroy Blue.
Craig Brenner, a 25-year-old native of Kitchener, who played his university football at Laurier, gets Calgary a first down, so it's 1st and goal at the Edmonton 8. Garcia into the end zone for Sapunjas and knocked away, and a great defensive play by guess who? Glenn Rogers Jr. A little revenge for the man who got kicked out on Monday.
Sure, he wants to let everybody know. I mean, he feels like he was the victim of a bad call, and I have to agree with him. But Errol Martin gets pulled out of the safety position. Garcia looks him up and goes back. Glenn Rogers has no help from the safety in the middle, but does a tremendous job timing his jump and getting that ball at the high point.
2nd and goal, Calgary from the 8. Garcia under pressure, throws it to the end zone. It's intercepted, picked off by John Kalin, but there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage in the area you would normally see offside. And the indication is that it's against the Edmonton Eskimos. It is offside Edmonton, and it will negate the John Kalin interception.
Well, Kalin was working on Danielson in the play, and here's the call.
Offside, Edmonton 38. 2nd down repeated.
Errol Martin was the man offside on the blitz.
You're going to see right here, the blitz is going to come right from here through that gap. That's called the A gap. Here comes Martin on the safety blitz. Garcia has to get rid of the football and is picked.
And Martin was the man offside. 2nd and goal, just inside the 5. More early movement. Edmonton was offside again.
Yeah, they're really fired up, and it's costing them right now because they've sent pressure both times in the red zone, and both times were too excited and got in there too soon.
Offside, Edmonton 89, first down Calgary.
Leroy Blue goes offside. That'll put the ball down to the 2 and give Calgary a first and goal. Costly offside penalties to the Edmonton Eskimos, and Calgary's right down to the 2. Now the short yardage offense comes in for Calgary, and the short yardage defense for Edmonton will try to dig in and turn the Stampeders away. A block punt, and now 2 penalties have put Calgary close to Edmonton's end zone. And Marvin Pope is in the backfield for the Calgary Stampeders. Garcia gives it to Sean Daniels, and Daniels doesn't get there. Glenn Rogers Jr. was in to help make the stop. Larry Ruck finished him off. It'll bring up second and goal, and no gain for Daniels. The ball is spotted at the 2.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos second in the CFL in giving up TDs along the ground. They've only given up 4 all year. Larry Ruck, Willie Pless will not have it in this case and shut the door on Sean Daniels.
And now Calgary takes its short yardage offense out and puts its receiving package back in, and there's confusion for the Edmonton Eskimos on defense. They don't have the right number of men on the field. David Bailey runs back onto the field. Edmonton's trying to call timeout. And the Eskimos just get their 13th man off the field. And massive confusion for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, Gordon, right now they're playing with 10. Edmonton only has 10 on the field right now.
Martin is playing the corner for Edmonton. He was the only man out against 2 Calgary receivers. And finally, the Edmonton Eskimos have called timeout. But perhaps referee Bud Steen won't allow it. Well, Edmonton now takes the opportunity to get the right number of players on the football field.
No, it's okay. We had too many guys. We had too many guys that played before. We had too many.
Did you repeat that rattle there? Edmonton had too many guys to play before.
And that one went undetected by the officials. They had their short yardage team on the first running play by Sean Daniels, and then when Calgary went to their regular formation, that is 2 slot backs, 2 wide receivers, Edmonton couldn't get the change in time. There was confusion. They ended up with 10 on the field.
Oof, what a break for Edmonton in 2 ways. They had 10 men on the field last time, but from the sounds of it, they had 13 men on the field when Sean Daniels was stopped. Now it would seem everyone has the right number of men on the field. And Cavis Reed and Gary Wilkerson just changed corner spots. Oh, it's like a fire drill up there. Second and goal from the 2. Garcia with the fake, under pressure to the end zone, and over the head of Alan Pitts. It goes incomplete. Pee Wee Smith was actually closer to the football, and the Edmonton defense, after a most unorthodox goal line stand, appears to have forced Calgary into a field goal situation.
Well, 2 keys to the play. Number 1, Garcia does not get anyone to bite on that little play action fake. He's got pressure from Larry Ruck, who wasn't fooled. And then at the other end of the play, Alan Pitts had the blanket on him from Glenn Rogers.
This is a 9-yard field goal try for Mark McLaughlin. This is shorter than a convert. You got to get this ball up in a hurry.
It's one of those pitching wedge chip shots. You got to just get it up and down here, but McLaughlin will take this. He can do this one in his sleep, but he's working with a new holder, so nothing is for sure.
Oh, you and your holders. From the 9. Reed gets it down just, and McLaughlin puts it through. The Calgary Stampeders add to their lead, now 6-1 in favor of the Stampeders, but the crowd in Edmonton gives an appreciative round of applause to the Eskimo defense, which turned Calgary away at the Edmonton goal line.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by 3M Canada, imagining the unthinkable and developing the unknown. That's 3M Innovation at Work.
.147 to play in the opening quarter. The Calgary Stampeders on 2 field goals by Mark McLaughlin have a 6-1 lead over the Edmonton Eskimos. But you know what, Glenn? Edmonton's lucky.
Yeah, they are lucky. They did a good job by calling the timeout, and it was the veteran Larry Ruck who realized there was problems on the field, didn't have enough guys, called the timeout.
You know what? I'm not sure Ruck ever did call timeout. I'm not sure Bud Steen didn't just stop play at some point, and during the argument, Edmonton cut the right people on the field.
Well, we'll have to check on it, but I'm sure that the Eskimos were assessed the timeout.
Create confusion.
Yeah.
It always works.
Start talking to the official, try to change the subject. Maybe he'll forget to blow the whistle in. But they did dodge a bullet because you weren't going to stop the Calgary offense with 10 guys on the field. And
hey, it's tough enough with 12.
That's right. And Larry Ruck, the veteran right there, is a good shot of him. He's the guy who saw what was happening and got it straightened out.
Well, here's one aspect of Edmonton's recent play that has been troubling Ron Lancaster's special teams. And you can boil it down on returns to one guy. Henry the Gizmo Williams still out after pulling the hamstring against Ottawa. Has not played in the last couple of games and likely won't be back until next week. This is Eric Blount from the 13-yard line. And Blount just slides up to the 35-yard line, where the Edmonton Eskimos will begin after a 22-yard return, a 61-yard kickoff. Kerwin Bell comes into this game with 8 touchdown passes for the Edmonton Eskimos, but 9 interceptions. The free agent signing in the offseason. He spent 2 years with the Sacramento Gold Miners. Tonight, he's perfect so far.
You know, part of the reason that he came out of the football game was the fact that he had a versa-sac problem in his knee, and it was really painful for him. They played Vargas. He had some success, but Bell is back in.
First and 10 from the 35-yard line. Blount is the long setback. Takes the handoff from Bell and gets maybe a yard as he's stacked up by this tough Calgary defense, and now pushing and shoving breaks out. Marvin Polk was once again in to make the stop for the Calgary Stampeders as feelings boil over here in the second half of the back-to-back. You like back-to-back games as a player, didn't you?
Well, it's good because preparation-wise, you don't have to do as much work. I mean, you're preparing for the same team 2 weeks in a row, but it's awful tough if you win that first one to win again the second time.
They mark it as a gain of 1, and Kerwin Bell in the shotgun on second and long. Bell has tough over the middle, has a man, and completes it out there for C.J. Davis, who gets up to the 48-yard line for an Edmonton first down. It's a pickup of 12 yards and just the 3rd first down of the football game for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, the Eskimos feel that the vulnerable spot in this Calgary defense is those curl areas and right in the short seam. They're isolating linebackers Alondra Johnson and Marvin Polk, making them come up with the big plays.
On first down, drop play to Eric Blount. And Blount once again cuts through the middle of that Calgary defense. Gets out to midfield and into Calgary territory at the Stampeder 54-yard line.
And you'll see who made the tackle. It was Greg Frères, the backup safety. He's in there at the linebacker spot from the injury of Matt Finley, so we're going to see this a lot. You'll see Blount move up in the hole. Greg Frères has to make the tackle. He's not used to doing that from the linebacker spot.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Bell, quick drop. And that pass knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It looked like Will Johnson got his hand up on it. And on the final play of the first quarter, the Edmonton Eskimos will be sending their punting unit onto the field. 6-1, Calgary leads in the second half of the Battle of Alberta. Back in Edmonton, where the Eskimos face a 3rd and 3 situation just across midfield, and Glenn Harper is once again back to punt after having his last effort blocked right up the middle by linebacker Raymond Biggs.
Gord, you talked about Ron Lancaster concerned about his special teams. Part of the problem for him was coverage. And you know, when you have those injuries in the secondary, it also affects your special teams, because Trent Brown is one of the leaders in tackles on special teams. So the juggling not only hurt Lancaster last week in the secondary, but also on special teams. He wanted to shore that up for tonight.
So on 3rd and 3, Harper goes back to kick, and once again 11 men on the line for the Calgary Stampeders as Coleman is the lone man back. Here comes the rush, and he got him again. This time Schweppels is a Coleman got in there, and Aaron Martin has to kick it out of bounds. And you can bet Jeff Reinbold, the Edmonton Eskimos special teams coach, is going to have a word with his Edmonton punt coverage unit. 2nd straight block by the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, Željko Zizakovic's going to come right up the middle, and you're going to see him here as he comes off the ball. you got to get more of a piece of him than that on the punt block. They say that you got to restart him. Make sure he has to start his attack again. Željko Zizakovic didn't have to, and with his height and size, boy, he got in there and got his hands. That's 2 in a row.
There's Reinbold, the special teams coach for Edmonton, a dejected man. 1st and 10 Calgary at the Edmonton 36. Garcia on the roll, gets it out to Sapunjas, and Sapunjas gets past the first down marker to the Edmonton 24, a pickup of 12 yards for the man who leads the Canadian Football League in receiving. Dave Sapunjas approaching 1,200 yards receiving on the season.
You know what's amazing, too, about Sapunjas is that last year he had a collarbone injury, and when you're coming off an injury, no matter what it is, it's always a question as to whether or not you're going to be tentative when you come back. Sapunjas, by his numbers, you can tell he certainly is not tentative.
From the shotgun, Garcia on first down, no pressure. And now gets it out for Terry Vaughn, but one hops it to him. Singor Mobley is there on the coverage. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 for Calgary. While the Stampeders got a short field thanks to their first block punt, but were unable to take advantage of it. The numbers through the first quarter are very close. In fact, just 3 yards separate the two teams. But the one turnover of note for the Edmonton Eskimos.
You can see penalties again for Edmonton. They have 22 yards on them already, and Calgary is yet to have a penalty. So again, these penalties early in the game a problem for the Esks.
Robert Holland still on the Edmonton sidelines with a bad ankle, likely not to return till at least the half. 2nd and 10, Garcia, all kinds of time. Now Garcia steps up, and Garcia gets a first down as he dives to the 12-yard line. Glenn Rogers Jr. up to make the stop, but Jeff Garcia with a gain of 12 yards and a Calgary first down.
Well, Garcia's locked in right now. Now, he reads defense as well, but right now he's locked into his #1 receiver in Alan Pitts. But Pitts, even though he appeared open at times, was not open. He'll see him right here. Now, he's going to work to the middle. He looks like he's open to him. Every receiver thinks he's open, but right behind him, just under the screen, is Gary Wilkerson.
1st and 10 Calgary at the 12. The give goes to Sean Daniels, and Daniels puts his head down, gets down to the 4-yard line for a pickup of 8 yards.
Way down to the Eskimo 4.
You're going to see the big hole open up right in through here. You're going to get the good block. Watch the hole right here. Sean Daniels picks his way through and picks up good yardage.
Gets 8, 2nd and 2 from the 4. Daniels and Brenner are the backs. Sean Daniels with the carry, should have the first down as he gets out to about the 2-yard line. Larry Ruck got in to make the stop. And this will likely require a measurement as Daniels had his legs knocked out from underneath him, but still appeared to get enough for the first down.
Well, Larry Ruck is one of the best in these goal line situations. And watch Dave Sapunjas come in and just try and get a piece of him as he comes in there and hits him and just slows him down just enough. Now, his job is to make sure Ruck can't come in there and crash down on that quarterback in that situation. A little bit short there.
Inches short for the Calgary Stampeders, so the short yardage offense comes back onto the field. And Edmonton gets its short yardage defense on there now. 2 guys come on for Edmonton, so 2 guys have to come off.
You saw right there Melvin Hunter, number 46, get nice and low, submarine through his block, and get right on the legs of Sean Daniels.
3rd and inches for the Calgary Stampeders at the Edmonton 2. Garcia goes straight ahead and gets down to the 1-yard line. Willie Pless came up over the top, but not soon enough to stop the Stampeder quarterback from getting a Calgary first down at the 1.
You have a great shot of what happens in the trenches right here. Take a look at the contact that's going on right there. And Garcia, who's a pretty big guy, 6'1", 186, just sort of falls down, picks up the first for Calgary.
And the short yardage offense in some parts will remain on the field for the Calgary Stampeders. Sapunjas comes back out, but Marvin Pope is lined up in that 3-back set for the Calgary Stampeders on 1st and goal. Garcia goes straight ahead, goes up, but does not get in. Single and Mobley, number 27, got his helmet on Garcia and turned him away at the 1. And Pete Laverato, Edmonton's secondary coach, applauds the efforts of the 22-year-old Singor Mobley.
Yeah, Singor Mobley did, and that put the nice hit on it. So did Errol Martin from the safety position. You see 38 right there, too. He got up over the top. And Errol Martin is a little out of position at the free safety, but when it comes down to goal line, hey, he's a backup linebacker, and he knows how to play it down there.
The receivers are back in for Calgary. Daniels and Brenner in the backfield. The kick goes to Sean Daniels, and he's wrapped up by Willie Pless. A flag is down, but Pless stopped Sean Daniels short of the end zone. What a play by the CFL's leading tackler, Willie Pless. We'll see what the flag is. It looks like offside Edmonton. It is. How many times can they do this down there?
Offside, Edmonton, number 27. It's first down, Calgary.
And Mobley, the man who made the play 2 plays ago, is called for offside.
Well, the reason it usually happens when you're down there on the goal line is that guys get anxious and they start creeping up towards the line of scrimmage. And all it takes is for you to have your feet or your head over that line and into the neutral zone.
I don't know.
That was a close call, though.
First and goal, Calgary from the 1. Will they ever get in? Yes, Sean Daniels, touchdown, Calgary. And the crowd here not appreciative of the offside call that gave Calgary first and goal, but how many chances did the Stampeders need to get down there?
Well, finally they get it in, and you saw Willie Pless right after the play there clapping his hands. He's telling his defense, hey, don't worry about that. The refs gave them every opportunity there, but you'll see right here that Sean Daniels gets his pads low and fights through Melvin Hunter. In that case, gets into the end zone, but penalties hurting the Edmonton Eskimos in crucial situations.
Mark McLaughlin on for the point after. It is good, and the Calgary Stampeders with 9:54 to play in the first half lead the Edmonton Eskimos 13-1.
Welcome back to CFL Control. As we mentioned off the top, these two teams have been going at it since 1949. Here's what Calgary head coach Wally Buono had to say about the rivalry.
Well, I think the best preparation is what you do mentally, that was drummed into them way before the game even happened on Monday. And hopefully our players will realize that, Monday is Calgary's Labor Day, Friday is Edmonton's Labor Day, and, this is just the continuation of the game. And hopefully we can start the game in a very aggressive, very intense nature so that we can carry over what happened on Monday.
One thing Wally Buono coach teams don't do is make a lot of mistakes. Edmonton has turned the ball over twice already in this football game. Here's Eric Blau. The kickoff return gets out to the 40-yard line. He's stopped up on the play by Greg Frères. As he got out actually to the 41-yard line where the Edmonton Eskimos will start down 13-1. This is very much like the Labor Day game where Calgary took a 19-1 lead late in the first half and then saw Edmonton score that 98-yard screen pass for a touchdown that got them back in the game.
Yeah, Wally Buono right there, he couldn't believe that they scored 98 yards on one screen play, and I asked him what he wanted to change for this week. He said, I just got to stop those 1 or 2 big plays.
First and 10 for the Eskimos from the 41. Here comes the rush. Bell's looking deep for C.J. Davis. He makes the catch. What a grab by C.J. Davis down to the Calgary 31-yard line. Biggest play of the game so far for Edmonton.
It's huge for 2 reasons for the Edmonton Eskimos. One is Kerwin Bell does a nice job of looking off the safety, Greg Knox, and then going back. You see Knox right at the top of the screen got taken over there, and Kenton Leonard doesn't know the ball's in the air. It drops right into C.J. Davis's hands. The perfect pass by Bell, but looking off the safety was the key.
A pickup of 39 yards. First down Edmonton from the 31. Here comes the rush, and Bell gets it away. Michael Souls across the 30. Gets down to the 27-yard line. Kerwin Bell just managed to get it away as the Calgary defenders were bearing down on him.
They sure were. A couple of adjustments for that offensive line for Edmonton. Chris Morris back in the lineup at the tackle position, and Leo Groenwagen is coming over, and Ron Lancaster needs his quarterback to have some time. That time Calgary had the heat on him, but Bell does a nice job just dumping it off.
Big play in the football game for Edmonton. It's 2nd and 7, down 13-1. This is the deepest penetration the Eskimos have had so far in the game. Bell lobs it up over the middle, has a man Mazzoli, and Nick Mazzoli has a first down down to the Calgary 11-yard line. A pickup of 17 yards for Nick Mazzoli.
Well, last time the credit went to the quarterback for looking up to the safety and making a good throw. This one goes all to Nick Mazzoli. He cuts inside and man-to-man on Gerald Vaughn. Vaughn has great coverage on the play, but Mazzoli has the concentration, comes up with the ball.
Edmonton can get a first down without scoring. It's 1st and 10, just outside the Calgary 10. Bell with time to the front to Shalon Baker. His first catch, and Baker shakes and bakes, but gets buried by Marvin Coleman as he stopped up at the 5-yard line. Actually, they mark it down at about the 6. It'll be a pickup of 4.5 yards.
That's why they tell you have to have gang tackling, more than one guy, because he makes the first one miss. Shalon Baker has Kent Leonard on the ground, but Marvin Coleman comes and helps his buddy out to limit the gain.
2nd down, Edmonton. 6 yards to go. Bell. At time. Still has time. Now he's under pressure. And Bell sidearms it into the end zone. The flag goes up. There was no one even close. Greg Knox, the Calgary safety, was the closest man to the football, but Kerwin Bell appeared to have all kinds of time, and this will be intentional grounding against Kerwin Bell.
Intentional grounding. Edmonton, number 12, 3rd down.
Well, a little misfortune, I think, for Kerwin Bell, because he's rolling out and obviously trying to throw the ball away, but Nick Mazzoli is deep in the end zone. When he tries to cut back and start heading back towards that, he falls. But now, I don't know if he, even if he didn't fall, I don't know if he'd have got into that, in close to that pass.
Sean Fleming with the field goal try from the 20-yard line. And Fleming missed it. Fleming missed it to the right. Ron Lancaster saw a golden opportunity for his football team slip through the fingers. A single point for Edmonton, but Calgary leads by 11. Back in Edmonton, where the special teams are letting the Eskimos down. 2 Glenn Harper punts have been blocked, and Sean Fleming just missed a 20-yard field goal. That's special teams coach Jeff Reinbold. Want to spend some time in the film session with him this week? Oh, thanks. 1st and 10 Calgary. The Stamps at their own 35, and Garcia's right back to Gunnan, and he's looking deep. He was looking over the top for Pee Wee Smith, but he was well covered by Kavis Reed, and the pass falls incomplete.
Well, take another look at that field goal and see just what happened. Now, there's 3 stages: the snap, the hold, and then the kick. And let's see what Fleming thinks. Oh, he's not happy when the short one goes by. Special teams. Big problem for Ron Lancaster. 2 block punts, but it's twofold. One is he's having problems with assignments. The other is Calgary's got some good schemes, and they're coming after him.
2nd and 10, Stampeders, and Garcia from the shotgun. Sends it out to the flat and gets it there. There's a flag down on the play. Alan Pitts makes the catch right at the 1st down marker. And it's in that area that would indicate pass interference, perhaps even a pick.
Ineligible receiver, Calgary number 18. 2nd down repeated.
Pitts was ineligible. He must have been lined up on the line of scrimmage, and there was another receiver lined up outside of him, also on the line of scrimmage. That makes him ineligible.
That's right. One of the 2 have to be off.
They never call that.
Well, it's timing, because those slot backs can be moving towards the line of scrimmage on the snap of the ball.
Then Ray Elgard has never been eligible. Well, 2nd and 20. They set up the receiver screen for Pee Wee Smith, and Pee Wee Smith goes up in the air and gets absolutely belted by Willie Pletz. A pickup of 9, but Pee Wee paid for it. And as Pee Wee Smith regathers himself, we can tell you that Tony Stewart has a concussion and will not be coming back. And look at him, he's wobbling on his way to the dressing room.
I was going to say, he needs some help to find that dressing room. He is dinged, and that was from that hit where his helmet flew off, and he basically got hit in the head without a hat on.
That's got to hurt. Oh, yeah. Tony Martino back to punt. Eric Blount is the lone man back. Just over 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. The Eskimos special teams hold this team one. Low kick by Martino. Bounces down to Blount at the 35. And Eric Blount is tripped up on a good play by Raymond Biggs, who stops him up at the 40-yard line, and a late flag comes down. We'll sort it out for you when we return to Commonwealth Stadium. Well, the story of this game tonight is pretty straightforward. The Eskimos have turned the ball over a couple of times, which has led directly to Calgary. 10 of Calgary's points, 2 blocked punts and a missed field goal, and Ron Lancaster's offense is in a bit of a hole, and you wonder how long it'll be before we see Chris Vargas, who was replaced by Kerwin Bell on Labor Day. The penalty was illegal block. Edmonton moves the Eskimos back to their 27. And the give goes to Nick Mazzoli, the slot back. And not much doing there as Alondra Johnson brings him down. Nick Mazzoli's 12th carry of the year. He was averaging better than 8 yards a carry before that one, but didn't get much there on sort of a Statue of Liberty play. He lost 2.
Right here, you're going to see how they set it up. Right here goes C.J. Davis across the formation in motion. Then Mazzoli comes in behind him, and he takes that Statue of Liberty.
They go out to the flat for Shalon Baker. This is the last thing the Edmonton Eskimos need. Baker gets out to the 30, 8 yards short. And the Bluebirds are out in Edmonton. It's a 2-and-out for the Eskimo defense. And Edmonton's biggest crowd of the year is letting the Eskimos have it. The sound of silence.
Well, Kerwin Bell has had some success, but he's got down there and hasn't put the points on the board to respond to the Calgary offense. But, you know, the one thing in that game story that we did not mention is penalties.
Harper gets the kick away, and the crowd gives a sarcastic cheer. This is Marvin Coleman spinning at the 40, and he gets nowhere. He's finally tripped up on the play by John Kalin, a 42-yard punt and a return of 2. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos are in much the same situation they were in on Monday. They've been outplayed the first half, but they're still in the football game.
And that's all that matters. As long as you can hang around with the Calgary Stampeders and hang around, and then you get into that fourth quarter and hopefully you get a couple of bounds and a couple of breaks. They're such a good football team and can put you away so quickly. Ron Lancaster just wants to stay close.
Robert Holland has not yet returned to the Edmonton defensive backfield. First and 10 Stampeders from their own 42. Here comes the rush. It's a screen pass to Sean Daniels. And Edmonton does a pretty good job of stopping it up. Finishing it off was number 90, David Bailey, but the man who really stopped the play was number 39, Willie Pless.
Willie Pless flying around. It was a good job by Pless because it was a perfect call for the Calgary Stampeders. Edmonton has got their linebackers spread out to help on the slot backs, and Pless is the only one available to really come up and make that play, and he executes it.
A gain of 4. Second and 6 Calgary, and Holland with that ankle heavily taped is heading to the Edmonton dressing room. Second down. Garcia, that long throw again, gets it to Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn gets across midfield and flags are down. Looks like Gary Wilkerson got his hand on the face mask of Terry Vaughn. And if that's the case, you can tack on some more yardage to that 13-yard gain by Terry Vaughn. And Jeff Garcia has been a godsend to the Calgary Stampeder wide receivers, Pee Wee Smith and Terry Vaughn, because he likes to throw it to the flat. But you know what? It's face masking Calgary.
Well, usually what happens there is the receiver will put his hand up in the face mask trying to get that straight arm.
We've reached the 3-minute warning. Calgary leads Edmonton 13-2. The Stampeders will be moving backwards when we come back.
Welcome back to CFL Control. Coming up at halftime, we will have a preview of tomorrow's matchup between the BC Lions and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Ottawa's made some really interesting moves with Mike Shad and Andre Ware. A Jeff Garcia feature and Gordon Glenn will give us their first half thoughts. Back to Commonwealth.
Thanks very much, Darren. Well, the penalty for face masking on Marvin Coleman came after the first down, or rather on Terry Vaughn. For face masking Gary Wilkerson came after the first down, so it'll move the Stampeders back to their own 40, and it'll be first and 10 Stampeders from there. So you get 12 yards, lose 10, still first down. play.
That's no problem for Calgary. They just start their drive back 10 yards back.
Jeff Garcia, again, completing a high percentage of passes. He came into this game completing better than 70% of his passes. First and 10. They give it out to Sean Daniels, and Daniels runs right into the heart of that Edmonton Eskimo defense. Tony Woods got up to make the stop for the Edmonton Eskimos. Tony Woods returns to the Edmonton Eskimo lineup after missing a couple of games with injuries. Native of Fort Lee, Virginia, who played his college football at Oklahoma. They've had a decent lineman or two.
9 sacks last year for Tony Woods.
One of the unsung players in that outstanding Edmonton defense. The game was 2. Garcia from the shotgun. Steps up and delivers it. He's got it there to Vince Danielson. Danielson lost the football. Reaching for the first down. Vince Danielson lost it. Larry Rock has it. And it'll be a first down for the Edmonton Eskimos with 2:10 to play in the first half. And maybe that's the break the Eskimos needed.
Well, definitely give him a lift in momentum. But here it is, his own defense, because Edmonton has been forced into this due to the injury problem to Holland. Garcia reads it, delivers it to Danielson, and he just loses the handle coming across the middle into that traffic. Ruck recovers. Big turnover for Edmonton.
From their own 48, Kerwin Bell back with a shotgun. Bell has time, steps up and delivers it to Jim Sandusky. And Sandusky into Calgary territory to the 46-yard line. His first catch of the night. Good for a gain of 16. There was a story in the Edmonton newspaper this week suggesting that maybe it was time for Jim Sandusky to retire.
Well, he turns 34 tomorrow. So it'd be nice for Jim Sandusky to have a good one.
First down, Edmonton. Bell. Here comes the pressure, and down he goes. Marvin Pope, Dwayne Patterson, and Will Johnson all got in on the Edmonton quarterback, who stuck on his own side of midfield. It's a loss of 10 yards. And Big Daddy gets it done again.
Well, you know, he had that touchdown last week, and they asked Big Daddy, they said, hey, would you rather score touchdowns or have sacks? And he said, hey, sacks anytime. That's a true blue defensive player right there. Rather have a sack than a TD.
Pressure on the quarterback, a major story for the Stampeders. Their third sack of the game. Bell, here comes the pressure again. Steps up, gets it over the middle, and a sliding catch made by Shalon Baker, who gets down to the 33-yard line for an Edmonton first down. Hey, Shalon Baker's only 5'6" standing up. He's a tough enough target to hit like that.
4 100-yard games so far this year. Over 100 yards in receiving in 4 games. Watch him make the big catch right in traffic. Guys all over him, and he comes up with the catch. He's made some circus catches for this team.
Gain of 23 yards and a first down for Edmonton. And flags fly everywhere, as there was a lot of early movement. And again, the referee, Bud Steen. Edmonton's been penalized heavily so far in this football game. And they're talking to the Calgary captains. It looks like it'll be Edmonton's 7th penalty.
Illegal procedure. Edmonton 53-58. First down repeated.
53-58. Chris Green and Craig Hendrickson, the left side of the Edmonton offensive line, go offside or move too early, so it's a 5-yard penalty. First and 15, Edmonton. Draw play, Michael Soul. And Souls takes a couple of Calgary defenders for a ride down to the original line of scrimmage. He gets to the 32 for a pickup of 6 yards, and that'll bring up 2nd and 9 for Edmonton.
Well, it's a nice call by Joe Palpau up in the booth on 2nd and 15 to run that draw play to Souls. Alondro was not fooled, but by the time he got back into the play, Souls had a nice game.
1:11 to play now in the first half. And Bell stands in for C.J. Davis, and it is almost intercepted. Very nearly picked off by Al Jordan, who almost had an interception for a touchdown in the Labor Day game on Monday. And once again, Sean Fleming and the field goal unit on the field.
You see it right there, and you see Greg Knox, and Everyone flying around. I mean, Gerald Vaughn's in there, Greg Knox, and Coleman almost coming up with another interception, but Kerwin Bell has to get rid of the ball in a hurry because of all this pressure that he's getting from this Calgary Stampeder defense. So whether there's coverage downfield or not, he's letting it go.
Sean Fleming missed from 20. We'll see how he does from 39 yards up with Glenn Harper holding. Fleming puts it up and missed it to the right again. Running around in the end zone is Marvin Coleman, trying to take some time off the clock, which he does. So Edmonton gets another single and trails 13-3 with 39 seconds to go in the first half.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by 3M Canada, imagining the unthinkable and developing the unknown. That's 3M Innovation at Work.
Well, Sean Fleming standing next to Jeff Reinbold, the special teams coach for Edmonton. And Fleming was laughing and smiling in the Ottawa game. Remember, he had that goatee and he shaved it off. Well, he'll be growing it back.
He shaved it off because he said he wanted to do it if he had a perfect game, and he did against Ottawa, but he sure isn't tonight.
He might get his head shaved after this. Calgary 1st and 10, looks content to run time off the clock. Sean Daniels. He gets stopped up quickly by Melvin Hunter and by number 90, David Bailey.
Well, let's take a look at the hold and see if that was the problem. Right now, there goes the ball. It's pinned straight, hand away. Well, it wasn't Harper's fault.
Oh, it's never the holder's fault, eh? Never the holder's fault. Look at poor Sean Fleming.
Well, it is the holder's fault on occasion, but not that one.
I just missed it, I think is what he said.
Yeah, Fleming just said, hey, good hold. I just missed that one.
Time winding down, and Calgary's going to run out the rest of this opening half. And as soon as the ball is put back in place, the clock will begin running again. The Stampeders lead at 13-3, but same situation as last week. This should be a bigger Calgary lead.
It should be. You know, the special teams has been the problem for Edmonton. Now, I'm not going to give them excuses, but the changes that they've had to make, Darian Hagan and Trent Brown out of the lineup, both those guys are on punt protection team, and they've had 2 blocked. Now, the Fleming kicks and the misses, that's just straight out bad execution. But as far as the blocks go, now this is not an excuse for this team. They had to make some personnel moves, and they're definitely not picking up their men, and it's costing them.
Reminds me of John McKay's line when he coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Someone asked him what he thought of his team's execution. He says, not a bad idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, this one's far from over. And
well, now there's a discussion going on down in the field because it looked like Calgary figured it could run the ball out, but the clock is stopped at 15 seconds, and the Calgary punting unit is on the field.
There may have been a discussion as to whether or not Edmonton had used their timeout in that Larry Knox situation.
That goes back earlier to that goal line stand in the first quarter. So the clock is not running, and Edmonton will get the football back. Eric Blount back deep to receive this punt. And perhaps time for him to get a good return. Martino gets a low driving kick away. This is returnable. Blount from the 35. Gets by the first wave, and now here comes Eric Blount. Out across the 40 to the 46. And just 2 seconds left now in the opening half. So Edmonton will have time perhaps to air it out one time and go for the end zone before the first half comes to an end. Or will the Eskimos? Maybe they feel lucky to only be down 13-3.
Well, you know, it seems like the trend in the CFL in the last couple of years have been in this situation just to take a knee and sort of cut your losses, or even if you're ahead in the game, not have anything bad happen. But Wally Bono, you see there telling his defensive secondary to back way up.
You got 3 guys back deep. It's called cover 3. 4 guys, it's called cover 4. This looks more like cover, what, 8?
Yeah, they got them all.
Well, Bell is in the shotgun, so they're going to take a try at it. And he dumps it off underneath for Jim Sandusky. And Sandusky tries to kick it to the end zone. Gerald Vaughn picked it up. That's a live ball. And it goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line. You can kick from anywhere on the field. And Sandusky was trying to boot it into the end zone where maybe Edmonton could get a single. An unusual end to an unusual half. Calgary leads Edmonton 13-3 at Commonwealth Stadium.
McDonald's Halftime, presented by your local McDonald's restaurant. Here's Darren Detition.
Welcome back to CFL Control. Last year, the Ottawa Roughriders signed former Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback Andre Ware to a contract, but he never played it down. Opting for another shot at the NFL, Ware failed in his bid to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now he's back with Ottawa, looking for the chance he feels he never got in the NFL.
You know, when you go to camp and you're promised you're promised every opportunity to be the starter, and no matter what the circumstances are, and you go in the first day of camp, you're taking third-team reps, or things aren't working out like you were promised that they would. You just have to wonder sometimes.
Ware will dress and be the #3 quarterback for Ottawa tomorrow, and he's no doubt pleased with the signing of offensive lineman Mike Shadd. The former Queen Star was the first-round pick of the Los Angeles Rams in 1986. He spent 9 years in the NFL. He will start tomorrow. Now, all the news out of Ottawa is not good, as Odessa Turner, the team's leading receiver with 779 yards and 6 touchdowns, will not play tomorrow due to a sprained knee and a strained hamstring. Kerry Brown will take his place. We will have that game for you starting at 4:30 Eastern Time. The Lions will go in at 7-3, Ottawa 2-9. You know, the last time they met was July the 27th, and talk about your turnover. The Roughriders will have 21 different players dressed for this game as opposed to the July meeting in BC. John Wells and Leif Pedersen were at the Ottawa practice today and have this preview.
Darren, the timing is just about perfect for Mike Shadd and Andre Ware. They're here in time for the Ottawa Roughriders team picture. But when you look at this picture, Leif, there's a few too many faces in it because of a lot of injuries in Ottawa.
Yeah, that's what happens, too. You get a lot of people hurt. You have to make a lot of changes from week to week, trying to find the right personnel to make your team a winning team. And for Ottawa, that leads to a lot of extra bodies when it comes picture time.
Now, getting ready for BC tomorrow night, Andre Ware is listed as the third-string quarterback. We won't see much of him, but Shadd is going to be a starter.
Yeah, I think that's terrific news for Ottawa Roughriders. Obviously, they've struggled on the offensive line this year. And Mike Shadd, although he's 32 years of age, still has a lot of football left in him. You know, you don't spend 9 years in the National Football League and not have great credentials, and I think he's going to add some stability. And he's only had a couple of practices, but playing offensive guard in this league, I don't think that's really going to matter. As long as he gets the terminology down, I think he's going to make an impact, and I think he could make that impact tomorrow.
Shadd's a little bit late arriving in Ottawa. He was originally the Ottawa Roughriders' first-round draft pick way back in 1986. When you look at the BC Lions, this is a solid football team with a terrific record on the season, coming off a loss against Shreveport, and an offense that sputtered a little bit the last couple of times out.
You know, the luxury for BC, though, John, is even if the offense does sputter, they've got a terrific attacking style defense. They've got great special teams, so they can get away with that for a while. But I think you're going to see the BC Lion defense break out of their mini slump tomorrow. You know, Ottawa's defense has just had a tough time all year. They're giving up almost 40 points a game, and that's just unbelievable. So I wouldn't be surprised if Danny McManus and Darren Flutie and company had a pretty good afternoon tomorrow.
Yeah, they're well rested, too, coming in against the Ottawa Roughriders here at Frank Clair Stadium tomorrow. Darren?
Thanks very much, gentlemen. On Saturday, Baltimore running back Mike Pringle put himself back on pace for 2,000 yards rushing when he gained over 200 yards against the Ticats. But after working out today, Pringle told head coach Don Matthews that he can't go tomorrow against the Barracudas. The league's leading rusher is suffering from a tight hamstring. Robert Drummond will take his place at the running back spot. On to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and with a $3.2 million debt, the team is looking for financial help, so they have put forward a rather unique proposal. You probably will remember the Spirit of Manitoba, the group that raised $13 million to save the Jets, while the hockey team apparently moving at the end of this year. You know, the Bombers want those fans that donated money to the Jets to sign over their contributions to the football team. Okay, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we will take a closer look at Calgary quarterback Jeff Garcia. We leave you with the CFL's Players of the Week, which include Mr. Garcia. Stay tuned. We're back with more halftime in just a moment. Welcome back. 1 month ago, Jeff Garcia was hardly a household name. He was just the backup to Doug Flutie. But with Flutie now out for the season, Garcia has stepped into the spotlight, and he has showed the league and his teammates a maturity far beyond his years.
And Garcia deploying 5 receivers. Daniels, the lone running back. Shotgun end zone. Touchdown, Alan Pitts.
has impressed me most is the fact that, you know, Jeff doesn't have a lot of experience. This is just 2.5 games under his belt, and the poise and leadership that he's shown on the field. He has taken charge in the huddle, you know, gotten after guys a little bit to pick it up if they need to, and that's what you need from a quarterback. He's been the leader out there, which is great.
Garcia, though, in charge, goes over the middle, Sapunches, gets in to the end zone. Touchdown, Calgary, David Sapunches.
When you see an excited Jeff Garcia.
He has already picked up where Flutie has left off, where he reminds certain players that they have to do certain things on certain plays, and that has helped out our receivers already and made us a little more comfortable with Jeff.
He hardly looks the part of an assassin, but Jeff Garcia has been murder on opposing defenses this year, tossing for almost 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns in his 2 starts. He attributes his success to time spent working with his mentor, future Hall of Famer Doug Flutie.
Doug has had a strong influence on me in a lot of ways. He's just how he prepares for a game and how he works out on the field, and I see that, and I see how well he's done in this league, and those are things that I'd like to learn from also, and he's always there for me. He's been there on the sidelines in the last couple games to help me through rough times and to keep me positive and to keep things going in the right direction, and it means a great deal to me to be able to have a guy like that in my corner.
Flutie is not the only Stamp who has been in Garcia's corner. The team has collectively raised its game with the second-year pro at the helm, and in his 2 starts, they have outscored their opponents by a combined score of 88-40.
Offensively, our team has really rallied around Jeff, and I know that they're playing awfully hard and doing the things that are necessary for a young quarterback to survive. They have guys talking to him, helping him out throughout the game, and I am sure Jeff appreciates it, and right now he's playing with a lot of confidence, and I think the team is playing with a lot of confidence behind Jeff Garcia.
On this team, when you're surrounded by such great talent, and the O-line has really come together, they've done a great job, and you're full, you know, you're loaded with great weapons at the receiver position and running back position, it just makes it so much easier on me.
Few could handle the pressure of replacing the league's premier player, but make no mistake, Jeff Garcia is right where he wants to be, leading the league's best team.
I think anytime when you're in the shadow of a superstar, people are going to doubt what you can do. They're so used to seeing it done by one person, and that person is everything. And but this is something that I've been doing all my life, and it's not anything new to me. And I just needed to go out there and do my thing and let my play answer everybody else's questions, because, you know, I was receiving that, but this is just Jeff Garcia out on the football field.
We will take a short break here at McDonald's Halftime. Up next, we'll review our game story and more. Stay tuned.
McDonald's Halftime, brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurant.
Welcome back to McDonald's Halftime. On now to our game story, and it reads pretty much like this. The Edmonton Eskimos, who pride themselves in special teams and technically are often so correct, have self-destructed in the first half, 10 points up as turnovers. Harper with 2 punts blocked, Fleming with 2 missed field goals, but yet they're still in the football game. They are only down by 10 points. Let's go back to Commonwealth as Gordon and Glenn are standing by with their thoughts.
Thanks very much, Darren. Glenn, you look at the Edmonton Eskimos, their biggest crowd of the year, the return game from the Labor Day matchup. They just don't look like a team that is focused for this football game.
Well, maybe they're over-focused. They got some key penalties. One that killed drives offensively, and then they had some goal line stands on defense and had some penalties to give Calgary some second chances. So that and their special teams have to be shored up, and they'll be all right.
Well, Wally Buono told us yesterday he thought the Labor Day game was closer than it should have been. He's probably saying the same thing now. What's Ron Lancaster saying? You don't want to know. Darren?
Thanks very much, gentlemen. It is 13-3 at the half. You see Ronnie on the sidelines. His Eskimos will be ready for the second half. So will we. Stay tuned.
Sean Fleming gets set to kick it off for the Edmonton Eskimos. First time they've kicked off in the football game. Not surprisingly, the Calgary Stampeders have the fewest kickoff returns in the Canadian Football League. That goes hand in hand with having a great defense. So to open the second half, Pee Wee Smith is back deep along with Marvin Coleman. And Fleming sends it down to Coleman at the 18-yard line. Here comes Marvin Coleman picking his way up across the 30, and Coleman still goes. Marvin Coleman all the way up to the 42-yard line. Shalon Baker got up to make the stop along with Eric Blount, and Calgary will have excellent field position to open the second half. Well, the numbers after a half are interesting. Edmonton had 181 yards passing and only 176 net yards. They lost 38 yards on quarterback sacks in the first half.
And you see right there the difference in penalties. Not a whole lot of yardage, but 7, and they've been at bad times for Edmonton.
Calgary begins first and 10 at its own 47-yard line with Jeff Garcia at the control. And here comes the rush on Garcia, who gets a high pass away and completes it to Alan Pitts. Pitts gets out to the 51-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards. Alan Pitts had a quiet first half for Calgary.
He sure did. And in fact, Errol Martin, who's been playing free safety for the injured Trent Brown, did a pretty nice job helping out on those slots. Here's the numbers for the quarterbacks.
Kerwin Bell, 12 of 14 for 181 yards, but his team has only 3 points, all 3 on singles. The game was 4, 2nd and 6. And this big crowd in Edmonton has been quiet for most of the game. Here comes the rush on Garcia, who one-arms it over to, or sidearms it rather, over to Terry Vaughn, and Vaughn makes the catch out to the Edmonton 50-yard line, a gain of 9, and a Calgary first down. He just kind of stepped away from the rush and slung that.
Yeah, we talked in the beginning of the show about his arm strength, and he's getting some pressure by Benny Goods, and just kind of, like you said, Gord, sidearms it out there, but with that strength, it reminded me a little of Dieter Brock right there.
That's a nice comparison. A Calgary first down to the Edmonton 50. First down, the give goes to Sean Daniels, and he gets maybe a yard as he gets buried by that Edmonton defense, led by number 91, Tony Woods. And Sean Daniels has had to carry the bulk of the load, but Tony Stewart left the game early on with a concussion. And Edmonton's Robert Holland also left the game in the first half with an injury, and Holland in street clothes is done for the night with that bad ankle. A gain of 1 for Daniels brings up 2nd and 9. Garcia steps in, and it goes through the hands of the intended receiver, Vince Danielson, and Willie Pless threw him down. Danielson thought that might have been a penalty, but there are no flags. Maybe that's the difference between Willie Pless and Glenn Rogers Jr. If Glenn Rogers Jr. does that, it's a penalty.
Well, sometimes you get locked in there, you get your helmet right in there, and you can't even hear when the whistle is. You don't know if the receiver has the ball. Willie Pless sees Danielson coming into the middle, and right now he's not sure if he's got the ball or not. So he's just carrying through with the tackle.
This is a game just waiting for the fuse to be lit. You get the sense.
It sure is. Both teams just kind of back and forth, but it's going to explode at any moment.
Martino in the punt. Low kick. Blount takes it on the fly at the 15. And here comes Eric Blount. Out across the 30 to the 32. He almost broke that. Stopped on the play by Dondre Owens. And it's a 15-yard punt, a return of 34.
You see Holland right there, Robert Holland, and this was early in the game when Holland did this. He went to jam Alan Pitts. You'll see Pitts delivered a little bit of a blow right there on Holland. He comes back, falls back onto his ankle. Right there, you see it fold underneath, and it's badly sprained right now. He's on the sideline right there getting the ice on.
By the way, my apologies to Tony Martino. A 34-yard punt, a return of 15 the other way around. Don't want to hurt Tony's average. First and 10 for the Eskimos from their own 32. And the give goes to Michael Souls. And Souls gets out to the 36-yard line. A pickup of 4 yards for Michael Souls, who had 3 touchdowns against Calgary in the return match after the Labor Day game last year.
That's a pretty good play decision by the Edmonton Eskimos, because what they're doing right now is working on the fact that Greg Frères is playing the linebacker, running on first down, trying to get about 5.
Edmonton has run more plays from scrimmage than any team in the Canadian Football League this year. A lot more. Here's Bell. a first down as he gets out to the 46-yard line. Sandusky's third catch of the football game. Remember, he punted there at the end of the first half.
Yeah, he sure did, trying to get the single. Almost got a touchdown out of it, but here he comes underneath the coverage, and Jordan has to come up and make the tackle.
And remember, Jim Sandusky had a bad year last year, partly because a safety from Saskatchewan savagely broke his collarbone.
It was clean. It was clean.
Says the man who did it. 3 catches for 43 yards for Sandusky so far. There they go again on that sweep to Eric Blount. It gets around the corner, but Alondra Johnson wraps him up at the 50. A pickup of 3 yards. Will Johnson is the guy who really made the play on that as he got deep into the backfield and almost tripped Eric Blount up.
One word to describe this play. Second effort by the young running back. Watch him get the handoff right here, and then he's in some trouble in the backfield. Right there, but he keeps his hand down, keeps his balance, keeps working, breaks a couple of tackles, and Alondra Johnson finally has to get him to the ground.
Gain of 4. 2nd and 6, Edmonton at the Eskimo 50, just underway in the second half. Kerwin Bell's under pressure, sidearms it, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Al Jordan, who gets it back to midfield. Kerwin Bell was on his way down, and he likely should have taken the football with him. It's a Calgary interception, and the Stampeders will have the ball in Edmonton territory when we come back. Tomorrow afternoon on TSN, John Wells and Leif Pettersson will be at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa, where Dave Ritchie and the BC Lions will meet the Ottawa Rough Riders. BC at 7-3, hoping Edmonton can maybe do them a favor. This race in the Northern Division, if you'll pardon the pun, is becoming a one-horse race. And there's only one team named after a horse. Pardon the pun. Jeff Garcia on first down, throws it back across the middle for Alan Pitts. And Pitts loses the football. Pitts fumbles, and Edmonton gets it right back. So after the interception of Kerwin Bell, Edmonton gets it back, and look who's got it, John Kalin, the Calgary native who played his university football in that city for the Dinosaur.
He's in there because Robert Holland is out. You're going to see Garcia go right back across the range to Pitts. Pitts just trying to get too much out of a little play and gets the ball stripped from him. Kalin comes up with the big turnover, and Garcia sees another scoring opportunity disappear.
Well, John Kalin had an interception negated earlier by an Edmonton penalty, but he gets the fumble recovery here. And Edmonton gets the football back right where it was before at the 45. That's where Kerwin Bell was picked off. Bell on the half roll, under pressure, gets it underneath for C.J. Davis. And Davis dives out to the 53-yard line, a gain of 8. Well, you wonder if Ron Lancaster was going to go to the bullpen, so to speak, for Chris Vargas, it likely would have been after that last interception. But he stays with Kerwin Bell.
Well, he said in the press conference that he would like to keep Kerwin Bell as his starting quarterback throughout the season and have the younger Chris Vargas come off the bench. I would say he probably gives him one more series.
Edmonton re-huddled there and may have a time problem here. They just kept the play off. And they give the lead back. Michael Souls, who was trying to get ahead. Souls got close to midfield, which is where he needed to be, and he was reaching that football out dangerously.
Yeah, it's always a close call because you're not on the ground. As long as the pile is holding you up, you're still live, and it's just a matter of whether or not the whistle blows in time. Looks like they'll measure it, so Edmonton retains possession, but...
Well, they look a full yard short. The ball is at the Edmonton 54. The Eskimos need to get to midfield, and now Kerwin Bell goes over to get the play as the short yardage team comes out for Edmonton. Some defensive players on this squad. Tony Woods is up there with Willie Pless and Leroy Blue. They got Leroy Blue lined up a wide receiver with Willie Pless. Kerwin Bell goes straight ahead. This is going to be close, folks.
It all depends on where the official marks the football.
Oh, you see that foot? Look at that official's right foot. He put it right on the midfield stripe. This is going to be really close. And Ron Lancaster is standing right at the 55-yard line. He wants to see it.
You go back to that quarterback draw. Now here's the line of scrimmage right here. Now which team regains possession of that line of scrimmage? You'll see it get pushed forward. Calgary holds it tough.
And you know what? I don't think they got it. They didn't. The ball is right at midfield. He didn't get enough. Short by maybe 2 lengths of the chain. again. Calgary first down right at midfield.
Well, that was some surge by that defensive front by the Calgary Stampeders. Big Zhreko Zizakovic and Kenny Walker up front. You know, Walker, one of the strongest guys in the CFL. And Ron Lancaster just cannot believe he can't get anything going in this football game.
First and 10, Calgary. We've had 3 turnovers in the last 5 minutes, and now Garcia gets it out there for Alan Pitts. A flag is down as Pitts gets down to the 43-yard line. Yet Bell intercepted. Garcia threw it to Pitts, who fumbled, and then Edmonton turned it over on downs. And now we'll get the call from Bud Steen. It's against Calgary. So the gain for Pitts will be wiped out by this.
Illegal procedure. Calgary 18. First down repeated.
Well, appropriately enough, it's Alan Pitts, who was called for being ineligible earlier when he was on the line and there was someone down the line from him. And this time he gets called for illegal procedure. Now Pitts on the bench for the Calgary Stampeders. That's unusual.
Well, he's definitely not injured. He's just getting his wind, and he'll be back in the next play. He just missed time to roll to the line of scrimmage and got caught.
Vince Danielson takes his spot. Garcia steps up, has all kinds of room to run, and here he goes. One man to beat, and he gets by John Kalin for a first down to the 43-yard line. A pickup of 17 yards for the Calgary quarterback, who gets a Stampeder first down. Jeff Garcia came into this game averaging 5.8 yards a carry.
Yeah, he asked Wally Bono about his running ability. He says, well, it's above average, but let's see here. He wants to throw it, but when he sees the opening, he says, hey, I could even run this far. That's no problem. And takes off and gets the first down, but great composure by Jeff Garcia.
He's got a 5-yard average tonight. The Calgary first down at the 43. Here comes Garcia again. He's slinging it deep for Pitts. Pitts is open and has the catch. Working on John Kalin. Pitts is down to the Edmonton 8-yard line, a pickup of 34 yards. So the rest helped.
Yeah, and you'll see Alan Pitts. He's working on the young John Kalin at the backup safety position, forced to play halfback. Now he's going to run the corner route, and Kalin throughout this game has been getting help from the safety Errol Martin. But when you run that outside corner pattern, you're on your own. And you'll see right here, Garcia is going to try and pump fake just to help out his receiver get a little bit open, and then lays one right in there.
First and goal, Calgary from the Edmonton 8. With the point after to come.
And Jeff Garcia definitely the key on the play because he buys a little time for himself. He's going to drop back on the play action to Daniels. He looks to his left, nothing there. He goes back to his right, but watch him buy a little time and then throw the curl pattern to Terry Vaughn, who was working right there on Gary Wilkerson, the newcomer to this secondary. But hey, Wilkerson had pretty good coverage, but no defensive back could cover all day long, and Garcia had plenty of time.
Now Mark McLaughlin for the point after. It is good, and the Calgary Stampeders lead it 20-3 as another Edmonton turnover leads the Calgary points. Well, the scoring drive brought to you by Pizza Hut. 4 plays, 55 yards, and Terry Vaughn caps it off with his second touchdown catch of the year. The 23-year-old out of Arizona has a big catch, and he told me before the game he likes Jeff Garcia because he's got the good live arm and likes to throw to the wideouts. Here's Eric Blount on the kickoff return from the 13-yard line. And Blount gets out to about the 34-yard line. He's stopped on the play by Dondre Owens.
And the #1 receiver in the league is Dave Sapunjas right now, but he can do it all for this team. Not just catch passes and look good going in the end zone, but watch him coming up and working on the block right here. Here's Blue trying to work to the outside. Sapunjas is going to do a great job of buying his quarterback some time. Just enough to get him outside and give Garcia a little extra time.
Now now the Edmonton Eskimos, 1st and 10 from their 34, and boos greeted Kerwin Bell as he came back on the field. From the shotgun, Bell underneath for Jim Sandusky. And Sandusky working across the middle gets close to a first down as he stopped up at the 44-yard line. Jim Sandusky is also an assistant coach for this team. He's the receivers coach. And there are some who think that maybe that's a tough position to be in, being a player coach. Ron Lancaster knows well. He was the offensive coordinator and quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, but Sandusky said he basically just works in the one-on-one situation with the receivers.
Kerwin Bell stands in, and he is dropped. The ball is loose and picked up by Kenny Walker. And Kenny Walker, look out, vaults over Michael Sauls, but gets dropped at the 17-yard line. Kerwin Bell got smacked. Big Kenny Walker got the fumble recovery and gets Calgary down to the 17. It's another Edmonton turnover.
Wow, that was amazing. First of all, you see the pressure by Will Johnson, who's been working on Chris Morris, who just came back into the lineup and having his way pretty much with him right now. But watch the vertical right here. Hey!
How about that?
Up and over 258 pounds, just went sky high.
We might have to call him Kenny Skywalker. How about that?
Not bad for a man that size.
5th turnover by the Edmonton Eskimos.
And this is really the game for Edmonton right here. They need to come up big defensively if they want to stay in this one, or it's going to be a rough.
Garcia from the shotgun. Down to about the 11-yard line. A gain of 6. And look at this. Chris Farkas is warming up wearing the headset.
Well, he's talking to Joe Palpao upstairs, and right now Joe is giving him the crash course on what to do differently when he gets his chance in this football game. And
I've never seen that.
You can bet. He's shaking his head saying, okay, Joe, I got that one. What's the next play?
Okay, all right.
Okay, let me get my arm warm. Okay, I got that play. Okay. He'll be back in the next series.
And right now, the focus here in Edmonton is on this Eskimo defense. And Calgary calls timeout as the play clock was down to just 2 seconds. So Jeff Garcia will go over to talk it over on the sidelines. 4:14 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
What a job by Jeff Garcia coming in for Doug Flutie. I mean, who'd have thought that he'd ever have the performances that he'd have when you have to come in the shadow of a quarterback with the abilities of Flutie. And I was sort of working out some numbers on Jeff Garcia, and you know, right now he's averaging like 172 yards passing a quarter. I mean, that's not bad in a couple of games. Flutie in his year so far is like 79 points a quarter, just to put it in perspective.
Well, now it is 2nd down. 4 yards to go, Calgary. And Garcia is once again in the shotgun. Here he goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Alan Pitts. There's a flag down right at the goal line.
Well, Alan Pitts, I believe, is going to get called for the offensive pass interference. Singor Mobley tried to get the jam on Pitts, and Alan Pitts simply ran him over.
And you can't do that.
No, you can't. I mean,
wow, this is a big call. Negates a touchdown.
And Pitts is saying, I mean, in his defense,
offensive forward pass interference. Calgary, number 18, 2nd down repeated.
You know, in Pitt's defense, he's saying, I'm just trying to protect myself on the jam on Singor Mobley, and he really does have a point, but he runs straight into Mobley and knocks him straight on his back. We're going to catch the tail end of it. You see Mobley right there lying on the ground. That's why Pitts is so wide open. He just steamrolled him.
Well, now it's 2nd down and 14. Garcia has time, might want to run, but he gets wrapped up. The football comes loose. Loose ball still. And I think it's between the legs of Larry Ruff. It is Edmonton football. And you called it, Glenn. Edmonton needed a big defensive series. The Eskimos get it here. Down 20-3. The defense pulls it up for Edmonton. We'll see what the Eskimos do with it when we come back to Edmonton. Well, Larry Ruck turns in a big defensive play for the Edmonton Eskimos, but the problem has been the offense, which is turning the ball over too much. First of all, here's the play by Ruck.
Yeah, now Ruck's actually going to be the one who gets his hand on the ball right there on the blitz. He strips it, keeps working for it.
Look at the ball bounce right between his legs.
And it finds its way into Ruck's hand somehow. It was bouncing all over the place there, but Ruck comes up with it, and Kerwin Bell's back in.
I'll tell you what, when he came out in the field, this crowd booed him roundly.
Well, the reason is, I mean, Chris Vargas has had success for this team. He's been out there and had a lot of playing time this year. These fans want to see him.
He's got decent numbers. He's only been picked off once, but he's been moving the ball between the 30s. That's been the problem. From the shotgun on first down. Here comes the rush, and Bell is under pressure. Now Bell to run. And slides in across the 40. He'll be about a yard short of a first down. Watching Kerwin Bell run the football is not exactly like watching a how-to video.
Well, it was like you could put the hourglass on the speed there. Whatever it was effective because it got the first down. You know, Will Johnson has been really working Chris Morris. He almost has another sack there. Bell gets outside, has a decision to throw to Blount, decides to change his mind, and then hook slides.
You've heard of 40 times like 4-3, 4-4?
Yeah.
Kerwin Bell's might be forever. Second and a yard. It looks like Bell got it this time as he needed the 41-yard line. He got to about the 42, and as you say, the spot is all important here. Boy, I hate that.
It's the first down.
Well, I mean, you ask either team, and they're going to tell you, obviously they have it or they've stopped him, but it's all up to the official where he puts that ball down.
And how long does he stay in the bullpen? A first down for the Eskimos to their own 42. Time winding down here in the third quarter. Slings it out for Shalon Baker, and Baker just took his eye off the football with Al Jordan bearing down on him. Baker looked away at the last moment and dropped the football.
Well, he's been the best receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos all year. You know, last year Eddie Brown was the leading receiver, and at this point last year he had 779 yards. Shalon's ahead of that at 862, but that time, like you said, Gord, he just looked downfield to see where he was going to run before he had caught the ball. And that goes back to fundamentals in Pee Wee football.
Second down, Bell from the shotgun. Here comes the rush. And down goes Kerwin Bell, sacked by Will Johnson. And listen to him in Edmonton.
Snares the Eskimo quarterback, Kerwin Bell.
Well, you know, I've been talking a little bit about that offensive line of the Edmonton Eskimos, but oftentimes it's a combination of coverage and your protection, and this time Bell has a little bit of time initially. He can't find anybody downfield, has to start moving away, and he doesn't have any idea that Will Johnson is coming from the backside, but he's having a career day, or night.
Chris Vargas, the Edmonton backup, has gone for the helmet. Here's the punt by Glenn Harper to Marvin Coleman at the 28. And look how Marvin Coleman's got some room. He gets out across the 40-yard line. And the pressure will once again be on the Edmonton defense as Calgary leads it by 17.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by NGK Spark Plugs, the spark of genius. And by Dodge Trucks, Canada's truck stop.
Back in Edmonton and behind the offensive lineman, you can see them talking it over. Chris Vargas, number 16, is warming up. This time, he's not wearing the headset. I would be shocked if we didn't see him on the next series. The give goes off to Sean Daniels out across the 45. Daniels gets to the 47-yard line. A pickup of 5 on the play.
You know, those offensive linemen for Edmonton, when they were talking on the bench, you guarantee I know what they were telling him. Number 81. That's his number. 81, Will Johnson. Pretty good player. Let's block him.
Start with blocking him and then worry about everything else,
That's right?
After a pickup of 5, it's 2nd and 5. Under a minute to go now in the third quarter. And Calgary is just bleeding Edmonton to death. Garcia. Lots of time. Pops it out for Pitts. What a throw to Alan Pitts. who gets across midfield to the Edmonton 53-yard line. That is a very long throw. It's a pickup of 10 yards, but Garcia had to throw it about 45 to get it there.
One of the problems here is you see Kalen. That's John Kalen, backup safety 19. Now he's in his zone and is going to work out to the flat, but he has his eyes on Pitts, not back to the quarterback until too late. The ball's in the air, Pitts makes the catch. When you're in a zone, you got to keep your eyes on the quarterback so you know when that ball's in the air.
But how do you know where Pitts is?
Well, you just got to feel him.
Feel him.
Yes.
On first down, Garcia screen pass for Sean Daniels, who slips on the turf, and down he goes. He's stopped by the safety man, Errol Martin, who's been there all day for the Edmonton Eskimos. And not much of a gain. Biggest crowd of the season in the Canadian Football League this year is here tonight. 49,434 at Commonwealth Stadium tonight. In one of the great stadiums in all of football.
And they're getting restless.
Oh, are they ever. I've never heard 49,000 people this quiet before. The pickup was 3 at 2nd and 7. Garcia again from the shotgun has all day and gets it up for Terry Vaughn, who gets to the 42 for a first down. He's stopped on the play by Kalen. That's the final play of the third quarter. It's closer than it should be, but Calgary is still sitting in the driver's seat. Well, here are the numbers through 3 quarters. The Edmonton Eskimos have turned the ball over 5 times, been penalized 7 times. It seems like every one of those penalties has been a big one against the Edmonton Eskimos. They have 264 total yards, but then you subtract all the losses for net yards, and they're down to 220.
You know,
and the sacks have been a big part of that.
You know, Gordon, the credit to the Edmonton defense, though, they're keeping them in the ball game and creating a couple of turnovers to try and save this game for their team, but they got to do it again.
And Ron Lancaster talking on the sidelines with quarterback Chris Vargas, who we'll see whenever the Calgary Stampeders give up the football. First and 10 for the Stamps at the Edmonton 42. Calgary driving with a 17-point lead. And Garcia, here comes the blitz, and down he goes. Oh, man. Bruce Dixon just whacked Jeff Garcia.
Well, Dixon is going to come off the backside. Garcia has no idea he's there, and Dixon gets the kill shot. See Garcia looking to the wide side of the field. Dixon's coming in, gets the crosshairs on that chest, and just puts the forehead right on the chin of Jeff Garcia. Hey, Simon Fraser boy.
Like who else?
Well, I happen to go to Simon Fraser. Hey, they're playing the Shrub Bowl against UBC tomorrow night. Big crosstown rivalry.
Here's the receiver screen to Pee Wee Smith, but it's incomplete, which is a good break for him because he would have lost about 5 more yards. Speaking of university football of the CIU variety, Alberta plays Calgary here tomorrow. A great rivalry and a lot of trash talking going on before the game as John Kalen, the former University of Calgary dinosaur, was talking to players like number 31 for Edmonton, Mark Tobert, who was a U of A graduate. So Tony Martino's on to punt. Big defensive stand by the Edmonton Eskimo defense.
Yeah, they do it again, and you know they're keeping this team in at 20-3 if Edmonton can just get some points on the board.
That's been Edmonton's story all year. This defense has simply refused to allow the team to get out of games. Remember, on Labor Day, with 8.5 minutes left, Edmonton was only down 3. Good punt by Martino. Blount from the 4. Edmonton needs a return, but Blount gets buried, and now there's a flag down. A 43-yard punt, a return of 4. We'll sort out the penalties, and we'll have a new quarterback for Edmonton when we come back. Well, Chris Vargas is in a quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos, and his team takes over at its own 2. Illegal block Edmonton. The Eskimos have only 108 yards to go somewhere they haven't been all night. The end zone. Welcome to the football game.
Yeah, they had their work cut out for them, but they got a new guy in there, and we'll see if that changes the complexion for this team.
He's a little more mobile than Kerwin Bell. And the bad snap from the shotgun, safety Calgary. Oh, man. Touchdown, Calgary. It looked like Marvin Pope got there. And Dwayne Patterson was along, too. Just like that, it's a touchdown, Calgary. Oh, you're kidding.
I think Dwayne Patterson picked up the fumble. He's the one who's going to get credit for the touchdown, but it was just a situation where the snap comes back. You'll see the snap right here.
Never got there.
Well, what happened is it hits Rod Knopp in the side of the leg before it comes through, and Chris Vargas just doesn't even have a chance to get the football. It just flutters down to the ground, and Dwayne Patterson gets the easy touchdown.
The 23-year-old from Washington State in his first year gets the touchdown after the bad snap on the shotgun, and that sound you heard was the air going out of the Edmonton Eskimos. Wow, Mark McLaughlin with the point after, and the Stampeders lead it 27-3 with 13:02 to play in the fourth quarter. That's 24 points off turnovers for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, right here is Rod Knopp. We're going to just see the snap. It hits the side of his leg and sort of flutters straight up in the air. There's the snap. Just kind of flutters around and falls on the ground.
And Dwayne Patterson shot through for the touchdown. No matter what had happened, it was disaster for Edmonton. It was either a safety touch or a touchdown. And it looks like Kenny Walker. No, it's not Kenny Walker. It's Bob Pandelitis is the injured Calgary Stampeder.
You know, and a lot of teams, a lot of people will say when they talk about the shotgun, why don't quarterbacks do the shotgun all the time? They're back there further, they get more time to see the defense, but there's a couple of problems. One is obviously, you see, it's a long snap, and it has to be executed properly. You see Rod Knopp didn't get it done, and it cost his team. The other problem is the quarterback has to take his eyes off the defense to look the ball in off the snap, so there is a downside to the shotgun.
Rod Knopp, the 14-year veteran out of Wilfrid Laurier, is the lone Edmonton Eskimo remaining from those 5 in a row Grey Cup teams. He is the football player's football player. Bill McDermott, the offensive line coach, called him the best football player he's ever coached.
Well,
and that is a terrible break for the Edmonton Eskimos. What a huge break for the Calgary Stampeders, who now have a 24-point lead with 13:02 to play.
Well, you know what he's thinking. I mean, we got a couple of punts blocked. Our field goal kicker hasn't made one, and boy, even our six-time All-CFL center makes a mistake. It's a tough day for a head coach when that happens.
This is Eric Blanc from the 15-yard line. And Blanc gets tripped up by Raymond Biggs, gets up to the 35-yard line, and Edmonton has not done much on the return game as the offense will now go back to the field. Chris Vargas has been out for one play, but he's yet to touch the football.
He didn't get a chance in the first series, but they have a little better field position now, and he has a full quarter to work with. So if Chris Vargas is going to pull out some miracle, this is where it starts.
Well, he did it against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Remember, coming off the bench in week 2 of the season, got his team to overtime where Edmonton won it. But this is the league's #1 defense. First and 10 from the 35. Vargas gets the snap from center and quickly goes out to the flat, too far for Eric Blanc. Gerald Vaughn is there on the coverage. What have the Eskimos done when they've had the football? Well, not much lately. They fumbled, they gave it up on downs, they fumbled, they punted, and they fumbled.
Well, I tell you what's uncharacteristic of it, and that's just the fumbles. 3 fumbles there for the team that in 1995 is the best plus-minus in the CFL.
Here's the completion to Jim Sandusky, and Sandusky out across the 50 to the 52. Sandusky has been by far the best Eskimo tonight on offense. I got to tell you, Glenn, this is as poorly as I've ever seen the Edmonton Eskimos play at home.
And they must, you know, they're frustrated. They wanted so badly to come in and have a nice showing in this game after what happened on Labor Day in Calgary. You see Big Daddy Marvin Pope out there. Looks like he's got a cramp in his calf. But, you know, just to go back to that point, we'll just take a look and see how he gets injured. He's coming on the blitz, gets a little bit of a cut, comes underneath the cut block, and then he has the whole pile come down on him.
Will Johnson's foot, I think, clipped him on the back of the calf.
Looks like he's just trying to stretch out a little bit of a bruise. Big Daddy does a heck of a job stopping the run. He can also do pretty well on the pass.
Marvin Pope, of course, had that touchdown on Monday, and he was teasing Pee Wee Smith before the game. He says, hey, you got 2 touchdown catches this year? I got 1. And he says, mine got a lot more publicity. He says, hey, Pee Wee, I can't help it if I run better routes than you do.
Oh, those guys love it. You know, I remember Bobby Jurison saying the same kind of thing until a free safety in BC by the name of Tommy Europe put his helmet right in Jurison's rib and cracked one. After that, he said, you receivers can take these can take this ball catching thing all to yourself. I don't want it anymore. There's Pee-wee.
What's up, Calgary?
First and 10 for the Eskimos, and great fake by Vargas. Gets it up to Shalon Baker against Marvin Coleman, and Baker gets out to the 43-yard line. What a ball fake by Chris Vargas. He is outstanding at that.
It sure was. It was one of those, now you see it, now you don't. There, everyone thought it was in there in the handoff, but it was play action. Gets it out in the flat to Shalon Baker.
That's a gain of 15 yards, and right away, here they go underneath for Eric Blount on the carry, and Blount fires his way down to about the 33-yard line, and he's close to another first down. And he says he's got the first down, but we'll let the guys in the striped shirts make the final determination. And look at this. Shalon Baker has demolished the rookie receiving record, or will if his projections continue, and he's pretty close to the CFL record held by Matt Clark. He's just under now in a projected total what it would have been for Clark.
You know what they love about him is what he does after he catches the football. He has so many great moves. They remind him of Gizmo, the way he runs the ball.
I'm surprised he's not been on the kick returns tonight.
Yeah, he must have some sort of nick, some sort of small injury that's keeping him off of there, and they want to keep him healthy for that wide receiver position.
Lots of time to go in the fourth quarter, just under 11 and a half minutes, and Edmonton with a first down. Vargas is under pressure, but he gets away, and it hits a bunch of hands, and it's on the ground, and I don't know, did Edmonton get this back? Yes.
I think they might have
even kidding me.
I think they might have even caught it.
They had to catch it.
Because that was,
what happened there?
Everybody had their hands on that ball. It was like the hot potato in the middle of the bunch. And I'm not even sure who came up with it, but I believe it was Chris Green.
I think it was Chris Green.
The left tackle.
Number 53, watch Green. Number 53 is the
Londa Johnson has his hand on it.
Oh, C.J. Davis, number 75. And now, look out. Chris Vargas got buried by Dwayne Patterson as he threw the football. And Patterson, who has a touchdown tonight, just buried the Eskimo quarterback.
He is doing a super job in his first game. He gets right in there on Chris Vargas, and he's lucky to get out of there with all his body parts.
And lucky it wasn't intercepted. That hit Stu Laird right in the helmet. Now 3rd and 5 Edmonton, and the Eskimos are going to go for it. Vargas in the shotgun. Here comes the halfback blitz. Over the middle, he has a man. Nick Mazzoli down to the 9-yard line. The blitz came, and Vargas beat it.
Third down gamble. Vargas going to go back, like you said, halfback blitz. That's Kenton Leonard on the left of your screen, but he was picked up nicely by Michael Souls, who read the blitz. And when you're in the blitz situation, you're vulnerable downfield. Vargas found it.
Gain of 20. 1st and goal, Edmonton, just inside the 10. Here comes the blitz. In the end zone, incomplete for Eric Blount, but Calgary was a mile offside. Marvin Pope was almost in the Eskimo offensive backfield, so that was a free play for the Eskimos.
Well, Marvin Pope wanted to time up his blitz that time. That's twice in a row now that Calgary has come with the heat. And he just came in there a little too quick.
Offside, Calgary 91. First down repeated.
So Pope offside, 1st and goal from the 5.
Well, Vargas knows he has a free one, and that's how close he was to getting Edmonton in the end zone for the first time this game, and you know he's disappointed. That's quarterback Chris Vargas. I'd like to have had that one.
1st and goal from the 5. 9th play of the drive. No blitz this time. Vargas, end zone, touchdown! Eric Blount. It took them 50 minutes and 42 seconds to find the end zone, but the Edmonton Eskimos finally have, and they're threatening to make a game of it. Down 27-9 with a point after to come.
And another key. They have over 40,000 fans back in this football game. Vargas is going to stand in the pocket. The key on this play, though, he finally has the time to look downfield and find the open man. Eric Blount happened to be the guy. He had a couple open, but the key there was the job of that offensive line to finally give Chris Vargas some time to throw.
Sean Fleming for the point after, and think back now, the 2 missed field goals by Sean Fleming and how much closer this game would be. 27-10 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Pizza Hut scoring drive, 9 plays, 75 yards. Eric Blanc gets his second receiving touchdown of the season. And remember, he had the 98-yard score on the screen pass last week, so both of his receiving touchdowns have been against Calgary. Sean Fleming to kick it off for just the second time in the football game. Edmonton in that weird bunch formation. And Fleming put that out of bounds. And Reinbold, Jeff Reinbold that is, the special teams coach for Edmonton, is going to hate that. Because now Fleming's going to have to retreat 5 yards and do it again. Sean Fleming is not having a great night.
No, wide on 2 field goals and then wide on a kickoff. And that's Jeff Reinbold letting them know that, you know, he's asking his kicker to angle it to the corner. It restricts the field on the return game. But he tried to bite off too much there, did Sean Fleming, and got caught, went out of bounds.
So now Fleming retreats a bit. Lancaster and Reinbold will watch their special teams do it again. I know what they're going to be saying in the Edmonton papers tomorrow. Where was Vargas in the third quarter? As he moved his football team down the field quickly when he finally got in.
Where was Vargas, and can I get a comment from Jeff Reinbold?
So Fleming winds it up again, and this time sends it into the field of play. Marvin Coleman has it go by him, and out of bounds at the 5. Good break for Calgary that time. That was a good kickoff by Sean Fleming. But you know what? They're going to have to do it again.
It really was a good kick because he's trying to angle it, and that's just an unlucky bounce.
Eric Blount got his team back in the football game, and we've got time now to take another look at it thanks to this little misfire.
Yeah, let's go back and take a look. Here's Eric Blount right here, and here's Big Daddy Marvin Pope right here. Now, Blount's going to work in here and then get back in the middle. But the key on the play is that Big Daddy misses the jam. He's got to get his hands on the receiver. He misses him, comes back inside, and then you see Eric Blount wide open right on the big double E. And you think his quarterback is happy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Getting his chance to play, finally getting his hands on a snap, moving the team right down the field, getting him in the end zone.
10th touchdown pass of the year for Chris Vargas. Well, now Sean Fleming is kicking off from his own 25. I said earlier I hadn't seen Edmonton play this poorly at home in a while. I haven't seen any team, special teams, play this poorly as a group in a while. Now Fleming, you know what? That might go out of bounds again. Nope. Finally, Pee Wee Smith at the 25. And look out, Pee Wee Smith all the way up to midfield. And we laughed about those kickoffs going out of bounds, but it cost the Edmonton Eskimos a lot of field position. Calgary, leading it by 17, gets the ball at midfield with 8:53 to play.
Now, well, the first one was a bad kick by Sean Fleming. The second one was a bad bounce. And here's Jeff Garcia's numbers on the day. Not quite up to what his average over 2 games have been. I mean, it's incredible the numbers he's put up in the last 2 games, but...
Well, Jeff Garcia's only been picked off twice.
And 11 touchdowns. That's a great ratio right there.
Start 1st and 10. Good fake by Garcia. Gets it out to the flat. This is the fullback, Craig Brenner. Look at Craig Brenner go. Puts his head down and steps into Errol Martin, but a big gain of 22 yards. And a Calgary first down. And once again, the pressure is on that Edmonton defense to keep the Eskimos in it.
Well, it's the play action fake that gets everybody. It's man-to-man defense, so you see everyone locked up on their man in that Edmonton secondary, and the guy who was responsible for covering Brenner was Singor Mobley. He got caught up in the play action.
Craig Brenner with the biggest gain of his young CFL career. First down from the 33. To the ground they go. Sean Daniels. And Daniels is wrapped up very quickly on the play, as he got stopped by Leroy Blue, number 89, the 7th-year man out of Bishops. Interesting connection between Leroy Blue and Singor Mobley. They know each other from Errol Martin, number 38, and Leroy Blue. They're both from St. Vincent, and Leroy Blue's mom taught Errol Martin's mom in school.
Wow.
See, little things
Where do you come up with this stuff?
I have no idea. Sean Daniels is wrapped up by Leroy Blue again, and there's the big stop for that Edmonton defense. No gain for Sean Daniels. It'll bring up 3rd down And I think we'll see the Calgary field goal unit now as Mark McLaughlin trots onto the field. And here's a couple of guys who have gone face-to-face a few times.
Well, when you play against a guy all game long, you're jamming each other, it starts to become just a straight-out fist fight. But, you know, Glenn Rogers, with the things that have happened to him over the last couple of weeks, needs to be careful because the refs are watching for him to do stuff like that.
Mark McLaughlin from the 37-yard line is 20 of 22 this year inside the 40. This to give his team a 20-point lead. And that's a big stop for Edmonton. Although Calgary gets the 3 points, Edmonton stays within 3 touchdowns with 6:50 to go. Is that enough time? Well, the Edmonton Eskimos would like to think so. Down 30-10 at home.
Our next game comes to you from Ottawa tomorrow as the BC Lions are in town. Danny McManus with one of his 9 touchdown passes on the season. Going to Mike Trevathan. You can catch Flutie, Clark, Benefield, and of course the Ottawa Roughriders with numerous changes. Let's go back to Commonwealth Stadium.
Ron Lancaster might be contemplating some changes after his performance in this home game. You know, the Edmonton Eskimos were only held under 10 points once last year. You know who did it?
I don't know who did it. Who did it?
You did it, Saskatchewan.
You know, I don't keep those stats, so I just look
and do not know that.
I just look and see, did we win or did we not win? Where are we in the standings and can we make the playoffs?
Eric Blount on the kickoff return from the 20. And Blount trying to get outside. Gets by Knox. And finally, Edmonton special teams come through with a big return. As Eric, now we got to fight. Eric Blount got out there. There's all kinds of flags. We got to fight down at the 30-yard line. And there are bodies flying everywhere. Look out.
Well, you know what?
Melvin Hunter's in the middle of it. And we'll see what happens here. But there were punches being thrown down there.
Now, Željko Zizakovic was down there too. And there was some fighting, but I think the officials are going to get the retaliation like they always do because Benny Goods flew in there after the whistle was over and put the hit on.
Uh-oh. And that's not, after seeing Glenn Rogers Jr. rejected last week, that's not what the Edmonton Eskimos want to see. Let's get the call from Bud's team.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton, number 89, dead ball foul. Applied from the point ball dead, 15 yards and first down Edmonton.
Leroy Blue gets called. It's a 15-yard penalty that moves the Eskimos back to their own 31-yard line.
So it was Leroy Blue, not Benny Goods, but he flew in there after the whistle, and it was retaliation because Željko Zizakovic was fighting earlier. But you always get the retaliation.
That's 40 yards away from the ball. And Ron Lancaster really felt that his team got a raw deal from the officials last week and was probably right. He's arguing again. Vargas up to throw. Guns it deep, and it is incomplete as he was looking up there for Shalon Baker going deep. Lots of time for the Edmonton Eskimos. 6:15 to go, and they're only down by 20 points.
Now, he threw that ball a mile, but it's a good thing he overthrew it because Shalon Baker was in double coverage down that sideline. You know, 20 points is not insurmountable. And he's done it before.
But now he's in a whole 2nd and 10. And here comes the rush. Right up the gut, and down he goes. You can see that coming. Željko Zizakovic got in there on the Eskimo quarterback. And in 2nd and long, a quarterback is meat against the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, big Željko Zizakovic was part of that fight that earlier cost the Eskimos more penalty yardage. And this time, it was a case of the pocket just collapsing around Chris Vargas. He really had nowhere to go, and Željko was the recipient of the sack, but that one just collapsed on him.
You really got to question the call on first down, though, going deep. You got lots of time, move the football, you've driven it well. It's a low percentage pass that puts you in 2nd and 10, and now you're dead.
Well, you know, I think what Joe Palpal's thinking was with this much time only left in the game, why not try and get one right in a hurry?
Now Marvin Coleman up at the 50-yard line. He'll just skate his way out of bounds, and the Calgary Stampeders have just played a very solid football game, a 2-yard return on the 36-yard punt, but Calgary in all aspects has been solid. Hey, the Mets and the Expos Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific from the Big O.
How about Cal Ripken?
Yeah.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Do you know that there have been 7 new stadiums in Major League Baseball since that streak began. He's outlasted 7 stadiums.
Like, I can't believe he didn't even have like a flu or anything through all that time.
Got a new quarterback in the game. It's Len Williams, a 23-year-old from Rockford, Illinois, who has planning to spend the year as the clipboard holder. Whoops. And about 15 miles offside was number 53, Denny Chronopoulos, who shot ahead. Len Williams played his college football at Northwestern University, so he's a happy guy this week because Northwestern knocked off Notre Dame on the weekend in South Bend. First time that's happened in a long, long time.
Oh, smart move by Wally Buono to get his backup quarterback. You know, with Doug Flutie gone for pretty much the whole season, I know Flutie doesn't like to think that. He thinks he might be back late with that elbow surgery. Jeff Garcia's the guy, but if he gets hurt, they got to have someone come in.
Williams was acquired and traded with Baltimore. He played for the Las Vegas Posse last year in 5 games. He was the backup to Anthony Calvillo. On second down. So is Len Williams. Len Williams, who, oh, look out. Benny Goods is going out of the game, folks, because he just punched somebody in the head. And tempers are really boiling over. You know, 5:06 to play in the 4th quarter. Edmonton had just sacked the quarterback. I mean, they're going to get the football back, and Benny Goods just lost his head trying to take someone else's off.
Well, you know, that is nothing more than frustration, the part of a good football player in Benny Goods. And it is surprising to see a guy with that much talent and ability to just lose it. I mean, he is a solid veteran for this team, and he's just so frustrated because this defense for Edmonton has played pretty well.
Holding 64 Calgary. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Edmonton number 40. Penalties are balanced, net 5 yards for Calgary, down repeated.
So they're going to repeat the down. Benny Goods is lucky he didn't get thrown out of the football game.
Well, here's the pressure on Len Williams. He's got to get flushed out of the pocket and goes down by David Bailey, but you'll see right after the fact, right here, Big Benny Goods loses it.
Oh, it was a dive. It was a Pandelitas dive. From here, it looked like he just cold-cocked him. So I take it back, Benny. That was Bobby Pandelitas doing a flop.
Yeah, no, but wait a minute. That was a dive, no question about it. But he swung his fist, knocked him down, hit him in the face. I mean, it wasn't a hard hit, but that's just losing your composure.
I don't know who I'm more disgusted with, Benny Goods for throwing that or Bobby Pandelitas for flopping like that. Bobby McNeely, first down, and they give it up to Sean Daniels. And Daniels has a first down as he puts his head down and gets into the Edmonton 48-yard line. Sean Daniels had a pretty good night, taking the place of Tony Stewart as the Calgary tailback. So Len Williams engineering this Calgary offense. Were you surprised they went to their backup quarterback this early?
No, not really. I mean, Wally Buono is one of the most confident men in football, I think, in the history of the game. He believes this team can win under any circumstances, and he wants to give him some playing time.
Oh, nice fake by Williams, and he gets it out for Craig Brenner, and Craig Brenner gets down to the 30-yard line. That'll be good for another Calgary first down, and a pickup on the play of 19 yards. So a lot of subs getting it done for the Calgary Stampeders. Wally Buono talked to us before this football game about the 3 elements of success: scheme, personnel, and preparation. Is there anyone in the CFL that does it better than the Calgary Stampeders?
Well, they definitely have the talent. They're a well-coached football team, and Wally thinks that he has a system that if one player leaves that team, they could fit another one into the good system and not skip a beat.
And that's why I think the Stampeders were offended by the suggestion that they were a one-man team, and that when Doug Flutie got hurt, they simply weren't going to be able to compete, because the Stampeders feel they have an excellent defense, they feel they have well-coached special teams, and they feel that their offense could still get the job done. And there's a guy who told us before the game he thought the Stamps would play well. He said he talked to Alan Pitts before the game, he had a great feeling.
Yeah, he said that Alan Pitts is pretty quiet before the game, but he came up to him and he said, hey, make sure you cheer on the sideline because I feel good about this one. And Larry Rickman said, I've never heard Pitts say anything, so he thought his team was up.
2nd and 5. Sean Daniels, with 3 minutes to go, dives in across the 25-yard line, maybe for a gain of a yard. And with the 3-minute warning coming, the Calgary Stampeder field goal unit is on the field. We'll be back with more of the CFL Live right after this. It's been that kind of night for the Edmonton Eskimos. The Calgary Stampeders have simply thwarted them at every opportunity. The Stamps threaten to go to 10-1 on the season. But you know what? That might not be such a good thing. You know that since the CFL went to the 18-game schedule, in fact, in the history of the league, only 3 teams have won 15 or more games. The 1989 Edmonton Eskimos went 16-2. The 93 Stampeders went 15-3, as did the 94 Stampeders. Not one of those 3 teams that won 15 or more games even got to the Grey Cup game, much less won it.
Well, I remember the 89 year.
Oh, yeah. Saskatchewan came here to Edmonton at 9-9 and beat the 16-2 Eskimos.
You know, but what do you say to your team? Okay, listen, let's lose a couple in the regular season so that when we go into the playoffs, the stats will show that we're going to win it for a change.
What do you do? I mean,
you just got to keep out playing and keep on executing it.
Mark McLaughlin from the 31-yard line. Kevin Reed with a hold, and Mark McLaughlin puts it through. So now 33-10 is the score in favor of the Calgary Stampeders. And the Stamp special teams have been near perfect tonight. That's part of the game story, but the special teams the other way are another big part of it. 24 points off turnovers for the Stampeders. 2 block punts are part of that story. And Jeff Garcia has 214 yards passing. Calgary came into this game as the only team in the league averaging over 400 yards a game.
Amazing. First in the CFL, obviously, against the pass. First in the CFL on putting points on the board. They average 38.5 a game, and they're getting close to that average tonight.
Vargas remains in the game for the Edmonton Eskimos, and there goes the low snap again. Michael Souls picks it up alertly, but quickly gets wrapped up by Kenny Walker, and that's been symptomatic of the Edmonton Eskimos on this night.
You know, sometimes when you're a team that is so pumped up for a football game, as the Edmonton Eskimos were coming into this one, you just get that, like, that brain lock. You're so aggressive, you're over-aggressive, and you make mental mistakes.
Chris Vargas steps in and looking for Jim Sandusky. It is broken up by Al Jordan. It'll bring up 3rd down for the Edmonton Eskimos, and the punting unit comes on the field for Ron Lancaster's team. So Calgary will win back-to-back against Edmonton, and that's a rare occurrence. In fact, the Stampeders haven't won back-to-back against the Edmonton Eskimos in a long time. Edmonton swept the home and home in 1991.
And he may spend the whole week, Ron Lancaster, on special teams.
And he's got to get ready for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Glenn Harper gets it away, and a diving catch is made by Marvin Coleman, who gets out to the 46-yard line with 2:08 to play in the 4th quarter.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by All Sport, the new All Sports drink for athletes. All Sport, the game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services, from the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies.
Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where Len Williams is mopping up for the Calgary Stampeders, who are about to go 10-1 on the season. And Williams on 1st down. Ooh, he's got a live arm out for Terry Vaughn. The Eskimo defensive back Gary Wilkerson gambled and lost, and Terry Vaughn gets down to the 42-yard line. Weird schedule for the Calgary Stampeders. They went back-to-back with Birmingham, then they get Edmonton back-to-back, and now they'll get Winnipeg back-to-back.
Yeah, it's good for the coaching staff because you get that same preparation week in and week out. You get 2 teams back-to-back. You really don't have to change much, and especially if you're winning like Wally Bono is. But for the players, it's awful tough.
And much of this big crowd has left already with under 2 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. But Len Williams wants to show what he can do. Greg Brenner lost the football. Picked up by Singor Mobley. And Mobley off and running, looking for some blocks. Mobley still going. They need to get the quarterback, and they do. Here goes Singor Mobley. One man to catch up, and they won't get him. Touchdown, Edmonton. Singor Mobley, but there's a flag. This is coming back. I'm sure it's an illegal block against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, without even seeing it, you're pretty sure the way this game has gone for the Edmonton Eskimos.
It is a touchdown. Forget about it.
Hey,
How do you know that?
He got one the other way.
A 70-yard fumble return for a touchdown, and wouldn't you know it, the best play on the night for the Edmonton Eskimos is turned in by the defense. Singor Mobley, the first-year man out of Washington State.
We'll see the play right here. We get a good look at it from
Penalty is applied on the kickoff.
behind. The ball comes loose. Singor Mobley picks it up, and away he goes. Gets a couple of blocks down the sideline. There's the quarterback getting blocked. Len Williams kind of got pulled down by Leroy Blue. They let that one go, and then the dive into the end zone. But you know what? This team on defense, the Edmonton Eskimos, have played pretty well against Calgary, even though the score doesn't show it. And that's a little bit of a reward for them.
Sean Fleming for the point after. It is good, and the Edmonton Eskimos trail it by a score of 33-17. So down 16 with 1:40 to go.
You know, Singor Mobley used to be a running back when he played in high school. He was a strong safety in college, and he's a linebacker here, but shows a bit of that running back ability here as he cuts back against the flow. Sean Daniels missed him. Breaks out to the outside, does a pretty nice job to avoid the tackle of Pee Wee Smith. And then puts on a little bit of a speed burst down the sideline. And then watch the dive at the end, right here. Yeah.
Mobley got there.
There it is. And they can be proud. You know, that Edmonton defense can hold their heads high. They played a pretty good football game against the best offensive team in the CFL, maybe in I don't know how many years, but they can be proud of their performance.
First career touchdown for Singor Mobley, who came into the game with 1 sack and 1 interception. He's that tweener, that half defensive back, half linebacker. Well, now Edmonton will no doubt try the short kick as they've got 10 men on one side of the field. Sean Fleming puts it up. And now it's a race for it. And Alan Pitts just taps it out of bounds, but there is a flag on the play. Well, the first guy you want out there is for Calgary is Alan Pitts at 6'4", a great leaper. And he just got up before anyone else could and knocked that out of bounds.
Yeah, all you have to do is touch the ball. Be the last team to touch it when it goes out of bounds.
Illegal kickoff is the call against Edmonton, and Calgary will naturally decline that. So with 1:39 to play, the Stampeders will get the football back.
Well, it didn't go 10 yards, so that was the penalty, and it's been that kind of night for Sean Fleming. You know, when he kicked the extra point on Singor Mobley's touchdown, it went about 14 rows up in the end zone seats. That's how mad he is about the way he played tonight.
And now Calgary are just trying to run it out and go to 10-1 in the year, and the Edmonton Eskimos will fall to 7-5, and look out, Hamilton Ticats are right behind them. Ron Daniels on the carry, gets a couple of yards, and we've got more pushing and shoving after the whistle as the referees try to keep a tight rein on these two clubs. And Ron Lancaster
back to the drawing board for him, especially special teams. 2 block punts. His field goal team wasn't executing, and he still has to work on protecting his quarterback.
These two teams meeting for the last time in the regular season. Remember, though, they met in 4 consecutive years in the playoffs, so chances are they'll get another shot. Here's Williams airing it out. Davis Reed is back there, and what a great play by Pee Wee Smith to get back and knock that away. There's a flag down on the play, and Glenn Rogers Jr. is restraining Davis Reed, who was going to go after Pee Wee Smith, I think.
Yeah, but if he's going to go after someone, he better keep his helmet on.
We've seen that earlier. Tony Stewart lost his and got a concussion that finished his evening.
Davis Reed had perfect coverage. Pee Wee tried to do like a hook and go down the sideline. Davis didn't bought it and jumped up for the interception. I think he's mad because Pee Wee put his helmet right in the...
Forward pass interference. Calgary. Penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
Well, Davis Reed threw the helmet. So offensive pass interference is the call against Calgary. 1:07 to play here in the 4th quarter, and the Calgary punting unit will come on the field. And Shalon Baker is out to return this punt for Edmonton for the first time tonight.
Well, you know, last week in the Labor Day game, people said obviously Wally Bono wasn't running up the score late because of the series. He wanted to keep the point series. But running a hook and go 33-17 when you already have the point series, I don't know.
Say it.
I think that might be trying to run up the score a little bit.
Here's Eric Blount from the 13-yard line. Blount stumbles. And look at the coverage by the Calgary Stampeders as they get him down at the 24-yard line. So assuming Calgary wins it with 56 seconds to go, we got to fight in the field. Right on the 40-yard line, and now the benches have emptied. Look out. Players from both benches have gone on the football field. And this is just what happens when teams play each other for nearly 120 minutes in 5 days.
And you know what? I can't wait for the playoff matchup this year between these two teams already. I mean,
if it happens.
They truly hate each other. Oh, it'll happen. It's inevitable that these two teams play in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? You use the right word. We say dislike. They hate each other.
They really do.
And here's the call from referee Bud Steen. You know, you hear it in the little things you talk about. When you talk to the coaches, they're very grudging in compliments to the other team. Players often talk about how chippy the other side is. You won't hear many players talking about friendships between the two teams.
Rough play disqualification. Calgary number 51. 25-yard penalty, first down Edmonton.
So out of the game goes Alondra Johnson. It's a 25-yard penalty, and Alondra is being escorted off the field as he waves hello to the Edmonton fans who are serenading him off the field. But Alondra, just as he left, pointed at the scoreboard, which reads 33-17 Calgary.
And this kind of ejection obviously doesn't hurt you. He just gets the warm water in the shower with only 56 seconds left in the game.
And interestingly enough, you talk about why teams don't like each other. There's not much familiarity between these two teams. Glenn Harper is the only former Calgary Stampeder playing for Edmonton. There are no former Eskimos playing for the Calgary Stampede.
But we have to mention also, and let's face it, both teams have a real attitude towards winning. I mean, they both believe that they are the teams in this league, the flagships.
That pass by Chris Vargas is knocked down. And so, assuming that Calgary wins the football game, and let's leap to that assumption, here's how the standings will look. Edmonton drops to 7-5, and by the way, Saskatchewan plays Winnipeg, and you know what? If the Riders win that game, look out at 4-7, and then Winnipeg dropping to 3-8. If it happens. There's another pass knocked down. Your Saskatchewan Roughriders would have a pretty good grip on a playoff spot.
Well, you know, I mean, we talked about it early. You were ruling them out. I was saying, hey, this season is just beginning. I mean, they win that. They win the series with Winnipeg. They go in the back door, and then they have to play in the playoffs in the South Division because the fifth team in the North goes to the South.
I'll tell you what, before anyone counts Cal Murphy's team out.
Well, I'm not counting Cal Murphy's team out or not. You can't count Toronto Argonauts out. I mean, they have some great talent over there, and if they can get it together, they're still in the race. It's going to be quite a battle for that last spot.
3rd and 10, Edmonton with 48 seconds left, and Vargas is under pressure. Gets it away, and it is intercepted by Marvin Coleman, but there's a flag down on the play. Flag down at the 47-yard line. This is right in front of the Edmonton bench, and Coleman is yapping at the Eskimos and the officials, and you can bet Eskimos are in no mood for any kind of discussion.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 17, first down Edmonton.
And they got Coleman for pass interference. So it'll be a first down for the Eskimos at the Calgary 51-yard line.
It was hard to say how he got the interference call. When he broke on that football, he was about 4 yards behind the receiver and then just had the great closing speed to come up with the catch. So it must have happened right on the line of scrimmage.
First down, Edmonton. Vargas. That's 4 passes he's had knocked down this series. I mean, Vargas isn't the tallest guy in the world. He's 5'11", they say. But it looks like he's throwing out of a well. Now, there's a reason for that. Will Johnson, 6'5". Kenny Walker, 6'3". Stu Laird, 6'2". Sreko Zizakovic is 6'5".
Well, yeah, but it's also that this defensive line for the Calgary Stampeders have been collapsing the pocket. And when you don't have a throwing lane as a quarterback, in other words, you don't have a nice sight line to a receiver, it's tough to get that ball off. I mean, it's just collapsing around Vargas.
Vargas has thrown 6 straight incompletions. Now the pump fake. to the 42-yard line. That'll be close to an Edmonton first down. So Calgary looking to become the first team since 1990 to sweep both ends of this Labor Day week doubleheader. And a rare win in Edmonton. The Eskimos came in here having won 14 of the last 15 in this stadium between the two.
And Wally Bono wins the rubber match against Ron Lancaster's teams. He was 6-6 coming in, and he now has one up on it.
That pass was ruled out of bounds, so it'll bring up a third down for the Eskimos from the Calgary 50. And Vargas up over the middle, and Nick Mazzola hasn't come out. And no catch is the ruling. So Calgary will take over on downs. It'll be another turnover by the Edmonton Eskimos with 27 seconds to go, and the Eskimos have turned the ball over 7 times in the game.
If you want to answer the question of whether or not Wally Bono is trying to run up the score,
we'll know now.
We will know now. With 27 seconds left, if he doesn't take a knee twice and end this game, he's trying to run up the score.
Look at Wally smiling, huh? When you're 10-1, everything's good.
Well, everyone told him all week how when he ever came into Edmonton after the Labor Day game, he always got beat up. He's just happy to get the 2 points.
Hey, they're going to be 3-0 without Doug Flutie.
All right.
What? Well, you and I had the argument earlier in the year. You suggested they might be, you know, a Flutie-dominated team, and I suggested that maybe they weren't.
Okay, so far I'll give you your suggestion. I'll give you your due on that one.
All right. Now, can we take all my other suggestions, like the guy that scores the touchdown can kick the convert?
No way. No way, although tonight, Edmonton may have wanted to try that, because their kicker had a tough one.
Well, it was a tough night for the entire Edmonton Eskimo team, but give credit to the Calgary Stampeders, who have lost only once this year to the Birmingham Barracudas. Time runs down, and the Calgary Stampeders go to 10-1 on the season after thoroughly dominating an Edmonton Eskimo team that looked very sloppy at home. 33-17 is the final score, and now the Edmonton Eskimos will find themselves in a battle for playoff position, but not first place.
Well, sloppy is definitely the word. Bad special teams, sloppy there, and then